to episode 84 of our weekly Nintendo podcast called Directly to You. We are fanatixfour. I am AJ of fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker, also of fanatixfour. Hello, Parker.
Hello, I'm back from the dead.
Rip, dude.
Which is, yeah,
or
not anymore.
No longer rip.
Yeah, rip to everybody else, apparently. They did a good job, but you know what? Here we are, as they say.
You came back from the Waffle War alive and well.
I like the Waffle War. I know it's been the Great Waffle Incident for a while now, yes. And the Waffle War just feels...
Yeah, it's because
it's got a punch to it.
It's because you came back. You came back in the sequel, and then it escalated, and you started a war with the Waffles and came out on top.
And next time, what is it going to be, like Waffles Endgame or something?
I don't know. I don't...
Infinity Waffles.
You think I make the rules? I don't make the rules.
No, you just... inherit them. I don't know what that means.
Sure.
Yeah.
But what does make the rules is housekeeping.
True.
I guess. You can support this channel and this show and us by clicking the join button at youtube.com/fanatixfour for $4.99. You can also go to twitch.tv/fanatixfour for the same price. You get the same stuff. What is that stuff? Loyalty badges, emotes on Twitch and YouTube respectively. Also, you get gaming time with us. You get free Switch keys from time to time. You get access to our supporters only Discord, and you get to be a great help. You know,
you get joy,
feel good
a little
inside
bit of
your
that.
heart, dude.
I mean, I can't promise like cure for mental health things, but a little bit of joy, just a little bit, knowing like, you know what, that was fun.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Sure,
that helps, right? Yeah. There you go.
How you doing, Parker?
Man, I'm great. Listened to the last 2 weeks' episodes, and I wasn't on them, but it was fun to listen to them. And I've forgotten pretty much all of the things that during the episodes I just wanted to talk about and say back to you guys. Well, and I couldn't at the time, but I remember one of the things, and I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
It's not even a very important one, but you know what? I'll bring it up in the like Q&A section talking about last week's thing.
Cool.
But yeah, doing good. Doing good.
You playing any video games?
Less than I would have imagined. So yeah, long story short, if you missed the last 2 weeks or you're new or something like that, the past 2 weeks I had gone to visit my parents and sister who live in Belgium. Trip was good, just super busy, and I worked too the days while I was there too, so that was a thing. So like, just didn't have as much time for games. We played a little bit of Jackbox Party Pack. My wife,
S tier game according to dumb people.
It is very fun. I will say I played with my wife and my mom and my friend James, who I hadn't seen in a real long time, and it was just like Ashley and I were kind of just competing just between the two of us of like who was the funniest was about how it was. And like 3 times we made the exact same joke, and it was pretty funny.
Aww.
So yeah, cute and all that. But yeah, played that and played a little bit more Untitled Goose Game and showed that to my mom, and I was like, look how funny this is. And she was like, I get, yeah, that is pretty funny, but also kind of didn't get it, but was kind of like, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that. That game is ridiculous. It is. I made the kid buy back his plane, or what? It wasn't plane. It's a plane, right? Several times, just because I could. That kid is real dumb.
He's pretty dumb. I mean, make him go into the telephone booth and stuff, freaking out. Because although we did, like the day after I was playing that and showing it to my mom, we went to a park and walked around, and there was a bunch of geese and swans and ducks and stuff.
You were terrified.
And I was like, this is the best. I understand you all now. I am in your head.
I understand you all. You kept your plane real close.
That's right. Yeah. So I've been playing those. A tiny little bit more of Divinity Original Sin 2, but I really want to go back to it when I am ready to like buckle down, finish Link's Awakening at some point. I don't know if that was since the last one or not. And then the last thing I've been playing, so that was all just a little bit of stuff. I've been playing quite a bit of Mario Kart Tour in my downtime.
How dare you?
Yeah, at like, at work, or well, not at work, but that kind of thing, like on breaks and whatnot. been playing Mario Kart Tour, so you know what? It's pretty fun. Don't even think about touching microtransactions, because who would? Like, that's the dumbest thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the mechanics, it's fairly enjoyable once you get a hang of it, and it's fun to unlock things, but it does take just a really long time. But that's, you know, if you buy all this stuff to unlock it, then it's not even fun anymore. Like pay to win or pay to not play is, I don't get that. Like, why you would want to. But nevertheless, here we are.
I don't know, man. I don't want to do either of those things. If I'm being honest, I don't even play the actual Mario Kart more than once every 3 months. So
True.
I don't want to play it on the phone. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, I think part of the appeal for me too is I'm completing challenges essentially more so than playing against other people. Like I don't like a lot of competitive multiplayer types of games or whatever, including even Mario Kart, unless it's locally and, you know, with friends and having fun and stuff. But yeah, like a while back I was playing Bloons Tower Defense 5 like a couple of years ago on the computer, which is a Flash game, like fairly dumb but fun. It's just a tower defense game. I was playing that and it was fun, and I was like, oh, they've got an app for it. I'll download the app. And then the app is the same thing pretty much, but you have to play against somebody else, and I dropped off immediately. I was like, I don't care even one bit. So that's me rambling for a while. That's what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
You'll never guess. You'll never believe it. Hat in Time.
Bloons Tower Defense 5.
I couldn't talk about it. I was playing it last week, but
Nice.
it was embargoed, which is fun, I guess. Yep. It's okay. There's frame rate issues, which is like confusing because it's not like this is like freaking The Witcher 3, you know?
Yeah.
But it's neat. There was like a lot of discussion around the time that this game came out. It was like, oh, I think this game's better than Mario Odyssey, and I think those people are stupid. But it's good. It's a fun time, you know?
Yeah.
I'll play more of it eventually, but like, who knows? Because like, I still haven't finished Spyro. I need to do that. Haven't finished Link's Awakening. I definitely need to do that. I got real far in that, and I still didn't finish it yet. Because Smash Brothers, you know, which I've been also playing. So you obviously weren't here for that. But
I wasn't, but I heard the saga of the thing. Oh, and you and Max. Okay, this is one of the things I wanted to chime in on last time. You and Max were talking about that he said that, or he mentioned that you said that like you were gonna win your first, you know, like just show up and just win the first time. Which, so clarification, I think what it was the week before that you were like, wouldn't it be crazy if I just showed up and happened to? It was like that kind of a thing. So there was, you know, which maybe Max was trying to say it that way, but was making it sound like you asserted it.
No, that's insane. Because even that, I was saying like more sarcastically than anything.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I wasn't like, man, this is actually a possibility. Because like I didn't know how these people played, and a huge thing that's a problem with me, especially with Pokemon trainers specifically, is matchups. Because I got to know 3 different matchups. So it's like it's just like, I don't know, man. Like I need more time against certain characters, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to go to the tournament, because I know that there's people that try to take advantage of that sort of thing, and I want to learn how to fight them. So what I was going to say about that wasn't even related to the tournament, but it was just the fact that like Falcon came out here and then we were playing it, then went to Logan's house and we were playing it all night and stuff like that. We played more. But we were just being dumb. Whereas like we start, because randomly one of us would be like, yo, you trying to practice? And then depending on who has time to do it, if we both had time, we'll do it. This time we did it, but we didn't practice. We just ended up doing stupid stuff and being like, hey, let's just pick like random characters, dude. And
it's funny that that's something that's stupid stuff for you, because that's like how I play Smash Bros. Is like, I mean, like there's some times I guess where Mitch and I will be like, I mean, seldom, but like if we would play, it'd be like, all right, I'll be Toon Link or, you know, Young Link or whatever, and he'll be, I don't know who, I forget even who he mains at this point.
Fake fan, don't even know his main. That's crazy.
I know he plays some Snake, or he used to main Snake, and mostly Link, I think, is kind of mostly his guy. But yeah, most of the time if I'm playing with other people, I'm just like, I I don't know, Piranha Plant, or like just Olimar, you know, like just try to choose someone kind of random.
I used to, like, before the game, like Smash 4, I used to like cycle through like 8 characters, and it's because I got bored with one character.
Yeah,
but then Smash Ultimate came out, and Pokemon, well, first Inkling, and I was like, this was the game where I was like, I'm going to have a main, I'm going to do that. And at first it was Inkling, and I was like, this is kind of boring. And then Pokemon Trainer, I was like, duh. And I think for the most part, I didn't want to pick them because in Brawl they sucked. Because just the way they worked didn't work.
I did play Pokemon Trainer a decent amount in Brawl. That was a fun time.
They were garbage.
Just because of Pokemon, you know.
You couldn't switch unless you were on the ground, which like breaks the thing that is like so cool about them now, whereas you have access to all 3 of their recoveries. But you didn't back then. So now it's just like I'm to the point where it's like I do not have the desire to play anybody else. A lot of times, like Max, he's like, oh, you only pick Pokemon Trainer because that's the only character you're good with. It's like, no, it's literally the only character that I want to play. I don't want to play anybody else. Like, I'll try to go to Inkling and like other characters that I'm good with and get bored. And now I just want to go back to Pokemon Trainer.
There's something to be said too for like just things that you like in general, finding like seeing more depth in them than you would have. So for example, I mean, like in this context, it would be that when you're playing something, you understand more of the kind of depth bit or whatever, or nuance and stuff, in the same way that like if somebody's an audiophile or whatever, and they'll like listen to a song or something, and they're like, man, this is like the bit rate on this thing sucks or whatever. Whereas like when I was like 14, my iPod held, it was like an 8 gig or something like that. So I tried to cram as many songs on there as possible. So everything was down like, I don't know, 116 kilobits per second or whatever, which is garbage, like sounds not good. But I didn't know any better at that point. And then later, now I've got all these old songs that I'm like, I can't even listen to this crap because it's like just the bit rate's garbage. But that kind of stuff, I feel like the more you know something, the more you appreciate it. So I feel like when you really like a character or whatever, you wouldn't get, I guess, as bored of it because you start to see like, oh, I'm doing this like barely different from this, where somebody else just wouldn't even notice that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my weekly update on my Smash Brothers journey. Yep. Tune in next time. I don't know what's going to happen. Actually, I haven't really been able to play that much Smash this week. Just like when I made the challenge, because like I've been keeping up so much with like the performance of our channel, which has gone up recently. And I just been like, tweaking metadata and changing tags and looking at how that changes the video and doing all that stuff. So like my attention has been very much so diverted between that and also like working on the video that I made.
Which, side note, before we go into like news and stuff, if you're new, which is more likely the case this week than maybe some other weeks would be, who's to say? If you're new, this is our podcast. This is what we do. We talk about what we're playing first, and then a bunch of new stuff and talk about that. And then we talk about some comments that you guys leave on our videos and kind of respond back to some of those. And then at the end, we respond to just general Q&A that you can ask in a whole bunch of different places. You'll find out as it goes along.
Exactly.
But,
we had a show for you. We talk to you, you talk to us, then we talk to you again. That's how it works.
But we had a video from like 2 months ago, just suddenly the YouTube algorithm, if you've been here for a while, the YouTube algorithm has been not super nice to us since I've been on board. Pretty much is around when that happens to turn that direction. But it's starting to turn around, which is well and good.
Fun times.
Fun times indeed. More fun times is this. Here we go. Some news bits. Okami probably coming back. But that's about as much as we know, to be honest.
Is it though? Like, I don't know, because these are two memers. Like, if anybody follows Ikumi Nakamura.
Yep.
She's the developer that used to work at Bethesda. I forgot.
Wait, used to? She's not there anymore? She doesn't
work there anymore.
Since E3?
Yeah, since E3.
That's really funny.
She doesn't work there.
Did not know that.
And I have no idea where she works. She's been going to a lot of different like studio. Like she was at Sony for a while, like at the God of War studio at Santa Monica. She went to Santa Monica, and it was like people were like, "Are you working there now?" And then she was like at like Kojima's studio, and then like she's just going all over the place, dude.
I miss all that stuff. Kojima's for some reason makes sense to me. Like I could see her doing that.
Yeah, because they both like. I mean, also, I mean, this makes sense.
But
exactly. They just do like the weird, like like the crazy kooky Japanese games where people are like, "What? What are you talking about?" Though, like, why is the whale doing that? You know?
Yeah. Why is the whale doing that?
That sort of thing. So like I saw this and I was like, I guess a lot of people got excited by it, and I just was like, okay, but like, does this actually even mean anything? Because
I do wonder, because I think Kamiya tweeted out afterwards. He was like, "Yeah, I think it would be cool if it came back," something to that effect. Where it's like, interesting. But there is kind of an interesting bit too. Liam Robertson pointed out he actually made a video about it at some point, like last year, I think he said. But I didn't watch the video yet because I was doing other things. But apparently in 2016 they tried to make an Okami 2, and it was all behind the scenes and like never came out to the front, I suppose. But so it's like not the first time they've tried to, but it also seems weird that they would announce the idea of them doing it before just announcing it, because now that means it must be so far away.
Yeah, true. Like, is this like a Deadpool situation? Like, is this something that's not actually a thing yet, but them announcing it, they'll use to take to Capcom and be like, see, people want it.
I could see, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The interesting thing is, as some people pointed out too, Capcom did say we're trying to go back and like use some old IPs again and stuff like that, and go back. Sega said the same thing too. They kind of been doing that a little bit, but so if Capcom's going back in their library, like this is definitely a very prevalent one that they haven't done anything with since, other than do remakes of it and stuff. But
so many remakes of it. So many.
I guess remasters. I don't know if you want to be technical.
Well,
but,
yeah, true.
I mean, but it would also make sense that. No, I don't know. I was going to say that they'd have waited to put it onto the Switch before they start moving on with their next one, but that doesn't even. I wouldn't even say that's true. So it's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with it, but I feel like it's going to be so long before it does at this point.
Yeah,
but it'd be cool.
I mean, I don't know, because I don't know if that's like the type. I mean, I don't know how long the first one took, but I don't know if that's the type of game that's like, all right, we're going to sit here and wait for 6 years.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and maybe if it's a question, all things considered, they did, have the HD remake of the other one to where they could theoretically work off of that same engine, because it's not, if they're going with the same painterly art style, then technically, like, assets would need to be upscaled, like better and stuff like that. But otherwise, probably everything else, I don't know how engines work, so I'm just making this up, by the way. But like, you'd think that would be something they could probably reuse the same engine, but just with higher, I don't know, better graphics or something. That's such a plebeian thing to say. I don't even know if I use plebeian right. That's probably the same, but here we are. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm like, and like as I've revealed on this very show before, never played Okami. Don't really intend to, because everybody says it's like Twilight Princess, and I don't think it ain't either.
I played Twilight Princess and I enjoyed it, and I had started playing Okami, and then lots of other things came out, so it's in my backlog. I'm about like 7-ish hours in.
See, that's like a thing that I don't really have. I don't really have a backlog. I have tons of games that I have that I did not finish.
But I don't like that.
I'm just like, all right, that's fine. On to the next
there are definitely
thing.
some games. Yeah, exactly. There are some games that I have just decided, like, I don't want to have finished that game. Like, I don't really care.
I don't even know if it's like that intentional or not intentional. It's definitely intentional, but it's not like, it's not for that reason. Like, I'm not like trying to slight like Link's Awakening.
No,
it's just like a thing of like, well, I gotta move on, dude. Like, I can't dwell on this game. I gotta go to the next thing. So like basically what I'm saying is I need to finish Link's Awakening before Luigi's Mansion comes out, because like if I don't do that, then it's rip Link's Awakening. I'm literally never playing that game again. I think I'm on the 5th one.
Okay. Pretty much, I was telling Huddy Bear this because he said he was gonna beat it on stream, and I'm curious if that happened or not. Let us know. But he was on the 7th dungeon, I think, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to finish it on stream." Pretty much all the dungeons up like through 6 are pretty straightforward, and you can finish them in like not too long. All of a sudden, 7 is like takes probably twice the time that any of the other ones did, just because it's like a lot of. I mean, it's good and it's fun. Although I saw somebody else be like, "Nah, man, this dungeon's the worst," but I enjoyed it. I didn't like using. Actually, there was one bit right at the end that I did use a walkthrough for, because I was like really confused, and maybe there was a dip. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Long story short, yeah, go ahead and finish it.
Sure. I'll do my best. You know?
You will do your best. Nintendo also did their best when they this is a fun little thing, when they apologized to fans because a bunch of people had pre-ordered Tokyo Mirage Sessions Encore Sharp FE I'm saying it in the wrong order, I don't care.
Yeah, it's Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore.
Okay, I did say it right.
Definitive Edition plus XS Switch version HD
plus extra small. Or it's just plus XS, like EXCES.
Yeah,
I don't know if I spelled that right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Yeah, long story short with this guy, Nintendo puts obviously out the trailer for the Tokyo Mirage Sessions port to Switch, and it's got some extra content and all that stuff, which is real fun, but they didn't specify whether it was the Western or the Japanese version. And as a lot of people know, but maybe you don't, I don't know. As a lot of people know, there was some controversy about censorship in the West when the game first came out. So it came out in Japan, it was one way, and then they brought it out to the West, and then they were like, "Hey, you want some lady bits to be covered up?" Sure, something like that is, I guess, the idea.
How dare they censor the anime boobies, man? How else are these people going to find love in their hearts?
Yep. So
it's blasphemous.
I mean, obviously, as you can tell from my tone, the thing back then seemed. I mean, I wasn't even paying attention to it back then, but in retrospect, especially, it seems like it was way overkill. Like, people should not have reacted as they did. But it definitely hurt the sales, probably more because of the controversy than the actual, thing itself. Like, fewer people actually cared so much as like, then it just, I don't know, got worse reviews maybe or something. I don't know
if it hurt the sales.
Yeah, it was on the Wii U, so I don't think anything maybe could have.
First of all, it was on the Wii U. Second of all, it's a very Japanese game.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the audience is that big for that game. Like, the way we look at, especially in the West, the way that we look at a game like Persona, just because of word of mouth, it's like, oh man, that's a really big deal. It's a huge game. But like worldwide, the game sold like 5 million copies.
Yeah,
which is fine, but it's not this like global phenomenon that like people make it seem like it is. I don't think that the man babies that are upset that they can't look at the cartoon boobs. I don't think that they have that big of an impact at the end of the day. I think the game is going to do whatever it does. Spoilers, is going to outsell the Wii U version no matter what they do.
Absolutely.
Still, like, what else can you hope for at that point?
Yeah. So, but yeah, in case it wasn't clear, with this one, it turns out the Western version that came out in the West is the one that they're basing the port off of, plus additional content. So that means that the censorship is still intact. And so, so some people are mad about that, or getting their refunds or something on their pre-orders, which is actually something that I don't know if this might still be an open case, but because Nintendo, you can't cancel pre-orders through the eShop usually. Same for, I think, same for PlayStation, and that was actually something that in Norway they had a court case about, and they were like, you should be able to cancel those, and Nintendo was like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't Norway, I'm pretty sure it was, but so I don't know what ended up happening with that, but in any case, that was some controversy on that as well. But nevertheless, most stuff, at least right now you can't cancel your pre-orders on unless it's within probably like a really short window of having done it, and you'd have to like contact support and do all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Big picture, yeah. I personally, it sounds like your thoughts are about the same as mine, AJ, but like,
yeah, poor. I
think people are overreacting a bit.
Babies, I feel so bad for them. My best wishes are with their hearts. You know, I hope they recover.
I hope they do. I hope the game does. You know, I hope that the people that are going to buy the game enjoy it, and that enough people go and buy the game to support it. I think the game's
going to be fine.
I think it'll be fine.
Arguably better off.
Yeah,
without those people.
Honestly, yeah, because I think for everybody that doesn't or that like doesn't want the censorship, I know that there were bits in Xenoblade Chronicles that I was just like rolling my eyes. Yeah. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 specifically, that I was like, oh my goodness, like I mean, I'm playing this and like, whatever, this is fine. But like, I don't want my wife to like walk in as I'm playing this and be like, what is this? I'm like, it's a game. I
don't think our audience is the type of audience that would say this sort of thing. But just to get out ahead of the whole like, oh, social justice, blah, blah. It really doesn't have anything to do with that.
No, yeah.
Like, it's less so about that and more about like, just let them do with their game what they want to do. This isn't a situation of like, say, Marvel is coming out with a game and then Nintendo censoring that. It's Nintendo censoring Nintendo.
And so what's interesting, especially because they haven't been censoring like anything recently.
Else, literally.
Yeah, so it really is a game specific thing, not a. I think that was probably a lot of people's big issues back in the day, was more like a Nintendo issue where they were like, Nintendo's doing this censorship stuff, blah 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 blah. But like, it's just the one game, whereas there's a lot of games that are like, more like that already on the Switch, Senran Kagura kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like, okay.
And I think a big part, like, and I mean, this is a little different, but the original quote unquote censorship was definitely more so localization. They're high school students.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, for sure.
So, like, that's more acceptable in Japan than it is here, and that's fine, but it's not acceptable here.
Yeah, right.
So, it makes sense for them to censor that.
Yep.
In quotes.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a little bit less sense, in quotes, to do that worldwide because they have different values, but, like, at the end of the day, it's Japan censoring Japan.
Yeah.
They're a Japanese company. So, like, if they want to censor the game worldwide, then let them do it. It's their game.
But yeah, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. I feel like most of our audience is probably kind of on our page with this, I would imagine. But I'd be curious if that's not the case. I haven't seen us talk about it all that much. So we will find out. Segues aside, here we go. Pokemon. Let's talk about some stuff.
Censor the national decks, man.
True. Good point. People had previews this last week for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We did not. We haven't played it yet. But you know what?
Because we're not a news outlet. But you know what? Announcing today, we're becoming Nintendo
We're becoming Nintendo, guys.
Yes. So you can expect all the latest news, all the 4-minute videos about Coral leaks, and we'll be re-uploading trailers.
That's right.
Okay, so
you better believe it.
Be on the lookout.
So here we go. Yeah, so be on the lookout for over-leveled Pokemon in the wild area.
Oh no,
that's for one thing.
No, this is dope. This is dope because this is one of the things that I've been saying forever. A lot of Pokemon Sword and Shield is stuff that I'm like, hey, do this. That's all I'm saying. And the fact that they're making the wild area more like, I don't know, like an actual like environment, where it's like, it's not just like, okay, and everybody in this location are babies.
Yep.
And everybody in this location, they're children. And then you got the teenagers over here. It's like, nah, man, this thing has a dad and he's on level 70. And if you walk past him, he's going to kill you. You got to look out for him. You know what I mean?
I mean, it reminds me, for sure, in theory at least, of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that kind of thing, which is exactly, I know we've talked about it before, you've talked about it, but like that's the way that I feel like it would be in the Pokemon world. Like there's
We've already seen as much. How many episodes of the Pokemon anime is there where like a Gyarados or whatever sees Ash and he's like, oh shoot, like you can't come up my turf, and then they're running away from him. They're doing the whole Scooby-Doo thing.
Exactly.
So like, why not do that in the games? You know?
Yep. The only thing I think that will... So actually, I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles is probably a pretty apt comparison or whatever, in the sense that like with one of the other things, to skip ahead a little bit, is that it estimates that the wild area is about the size of 2 areas of Breath of the Wild's map together.
Yeah,
so that's
and specifically, I saw some people were like confused about that. And they're like, what does that mean? Is that like the villages, or they mean like the regions in Breath of the Wild?
Right. Well, of which there are like what, 12, 10, something like that. So that's pretty awesome. Which, I mean, that said too, there's bigger ones and there's smaller ones. Like the Great Plateau is one region, but still, like that feels pretty big.
The Great Plateau is huge.
Yeah. And that's one of the smaller ones, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I think the Great Plateau is probably the smallest one, and then Central Hyrule area is the next bigger one. I could be wrong. I'm not looking at a map, but you know what? Who cares? That said, you can't obviously in this have the same element of like climbing things and you know, the open world-esque aspects aren't to the degree of Breath of the Wild, which is
why, I mean, Pokemon doesn't really need a world that is that big. Like the gameplay doesn't really, like, it's not conducive of that being fun. It would be more of an annoyance if the world was giant, you know?
So I mean, that I feel like in that way it's more like, you know, Xenoblade as well, where you don't really, I mean, you can jump in it, so that's the thing where you probably can't jump in here, but it's more like what you see is kind of what you get.
That's
in some
nonsense.
of those regards.
I want to be able to jump. Ash can jump. Ash climbs trees.
It would be great if you can jump just a little bit, like even if it doesn't have gameplay usage, just like
just let me jump and joy. You know, when I catch that Rattata, let me jump.
You can jump in a Mario Kart. Like, you shouldn't be able to jump in one of those.
Yeah, I know. Like, come on, man.
But yeah, the only difference I think from, again, going back to the Xenoblade example, is that in that it's pretty like well planned out which monsters or whatever are going to be in spots, you know, like, so it feels probably more organic than it'll feel in some ways in Pokemon, just because it sounds like they're going to be, you know, rotating out what Pokemon are in what areas.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll still probably be planned out.
Oh yeah,
in a similar way. And I think it'll like the other thing is like, and they like teased this a little bit, where a thing about Xenoblade that makes that interesting and doable is that there's different temperaments. Like, there may be a level 82 dinosaur man, but like, he doesn't care about you, you know, like he's not bothered by you. But then once he sees you flying around in this mech and he's like, whose man's is this? Then he'll attack you, you know?
Yep.
And I think that if they do a similar thing, and I don't know if they'll do exactly that, because there's no way to tell, like, oh, this trainer got some strong Pokemon on him, I'm going to bully him. It would probably just be some Pokemon that just don't care, and you gotta approach them. Whereas other Pokemon are like, nah, I don't like you very much. And then they charge at you.
I do hope it would be cool if that wasn't just Pokemon specific, but was nature specific or something like that. Yeah. That would be super neat.
I doubt that.
I know.
But I want it.
It would be super cool. I mean, and I think they even mentioned, okay, there's some other things from the preview that I remember that I didn't jot down over here, but like there will be some Pokemon that you'll see out in the overworld or whatever that have like
special
aura
Pokemon
or something.
Yeah, and they have like
and those
at
have
least
like
a few max
couple perfect IVs or something, which
yeah.
is dope.
Yeah,
and cool, because that was something like, and I don't think this is the case in this one too, but like having Pokemon that are slightly bigger be slightly bigger in the overworld, that kind of thing. Like that's. I don't think that's the case just from the bits that we've seen, and they probably have talked about it and all that kind of stuff. But nevertheless, that would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And some of the other things that they talked about is like the Elite Four being... well, I don't even know if it has an Elite Four. The Pokemon League being more like the anime, which I'm on board for. That's way cooler.
People speculated about that. I remember too in the last trailer, not the last trailer, a couple trailers ago. I just remembered. I completely forgot to put the Gigantamax Pokemon news in our thing. We'll talk about it.
We got Big Pikachu.
Yep.
We got Big Eevee, which is
Big Charizard.
Interesting. We got
Big old Meowth.
Another one of the best Pokemon. Game Freak agrees.
Yep,
so you're
obviously
all wrong. I don't see a Gigantamax freaking Venusaur, you know? He's just sitting there crying.
That's because they're waiting to bring
corner.
out the big guns, which is the big Blastoise guns.
No.
Just saying. They're waiting.
No. Squirtle peaked early.
I'd be down with Gigantamax Squirtle as well. Not gonna lie, I love Squirtle very, very much. So that's very good.
So I put because like I usually do. Well, for a while I would make my phone background just the game that I'm excited for. Mm-hmm. And I stopped doing that because Smash Brothers came out, and Smash Brothers.
Yep.
But then I did it for a short amount of time because I got to that part in Link's Awakening. I was like, oh my god, this would be a dope phone wallpaper. So I did that. And then I found this Squirtle one, and everybody's like, oh, you got the best starter. I'm like, listen. This has nothing to do with Squirtle as a starter. I mean, he's fine, I guess.
Yeah.
He's
but great. He's the best.
He peaks at Squirtle. After Squirtle, it goes all downhill. I mean, Wartortle's fine, and Blastoise, like, all right, you went too far. Like, you're clearly from a different evolutionary line, which was confirmed by Elite Day.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I did see that. So that was interesting.
And that evolutionary line looked real dumb. So Blastoise, he's better off being a part of the Squirtle line, but he tainted it, you know? You know what I mean?
He's still the best. Going back to what you were saying, though, the Pokemon League is more like in the show, which means I guess that it's more like a like tournament kind of based thing, right? Yeah. Because I know some people speculated that in one of the trailers when we saw there was like a bunch of people walking onto this, in the arena or whatever, like walking in there.
Yeah.
And they were like, what's all that going on? So that means I wonder if they'll all be people that you've seen across the world before, I'd imagine.
Yeah. What I want, which is not going to happen, but this is like perfect for a video for when they don't do it, is I want them to do the Nemesis system. I want it to be like trainers that you battle before and you keep battling them, and then some of them like they get demoralized. So it's like, I'm at the Pokemon League in the first round, I'm battling so and so, and you're like, what? That guy sucked or whatever. But I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he's freaking dope. Like, look at him. Like, he had a whole character arc. Yeah. And he got good enough to be in the Pokemon League. But in your alternate universe, that guy's garbage. I would
love it.
That's what I want.
It would be very cool. And I want that to happen. Yeah, I mean, and it sounds like just from like some other things that I remember that people talked about from the previews, tutorial is a lot shorter, lets you skip some stuff, which is great.
Which is fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not too sure I know how to throw a Pokeball, but like, I'm sure I'll figure it out,
I mean, I feel sad for you, because I don't know how to throw a Pokeball. So,
why are you sad for me? You should be sad for yourself.
Hey, I don't know. I started the sentence so that I could go somewhere, and then I was like, well, that's too obvious of a place to go with that sentence. So I went somewhere different, but it wasn't good either. So.
Yeah, rip, dude.
Here we are.
Leave the riffs to Max.
That's right.
He's not good at him either. Max is dumb. He's stupid. And that's why he ripped, Goodbye, Max.
Goodbye, Max. You'll be sorely missed until you're back probably really soon.
Yes, probably.
Anything else Pokemon-wise that stuck out to you from previews and stuff that you heard? There was some other stuff that I just
they said something about how when you battle your rival, which like there's some mix up there. It seems. But they're like, oh, your rival's better because he has 2 Pokemon. He has Wooloo, and everybody has Wooloo, and Wooloo's all over the place. That's a tangent. But yeah, that would be neat if it actually is like that. And the first time you battle your rival, he's like, I got a head start, you stupid idiot. I have 2 Pokemon, and you just got 1, and you don't even know his name yet. You just picked him. So that would be neat.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like part of the mechanic for that is so that you can, at least I watched the Nintendo Life preview, and he talked about how you beat Wooloo and then you level up and then you get your, I don't know, water gun,
Ember,
water gun, something like that.
You'll get wrecked.
And then the next move, you can learn how to super effective because you're like, water, he's fire, I'ma destroy him. And then and then you have a fight after that that's against the one that you're weak to. Right afterwards. So like, it's fun times.
While people are like cheering that they're getting rid of tutorials, they just like
made it a good tutorial.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they don't tell you, they show you. It's like a Mario kind of tutorial, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Or most of the time.
Or most any Nintendo tutorials. Like Breath of the Wild tutorializes in a lot of those ways. Some of the more like things that you do more often, they'll tell you directly, but there's just certain stuff that you just won't know ever. Like the fact that like you can light certain things on fire and they'll cook, you know, or like that if you're near a fire, Link won't get cold and lose health.
I love how many
there's
ways...
a lot of like contextual things that's just like, if you watch cartoons, you'll probably figure this out.
Yeah, that's like the number of ways that you can get to... I don't remember whatever. The way you can get to the, I think, Cryosis shrine on the Great Plateau, because you can like get the cold jacket thing, or you know, the cold resistant jacket from the old man, or you can eat some hot things, or you can just heal yourself a bunch and just like kind of blaze through it, or you can make a soup out of the hot peppers.
Yep.
And any of those will work, and it's great.
Yep.
And I love that game so much. So that's a lot of Pokemon stuff. Oh, there's probably more Pokemon stuff that we forgot. I mean, all the Gigantic
you said the
stuff.
game's like more cinematic and stuff like that. Like the game starts out with a cutscene, which is pretty dope. I mean, it kind of always does, but not like a cutscene that like pans out and is like, there's a world outside of you. You don't matter for a second. Usually the cutscene is like, here's the bird Pokemon from this generation. It's waking you up. In this world, birds just fly in your house and it's fine. So this time maybe we won't get that specific cutscene. This time we'll see like the gym battles, and like they really like underscore like gyms are they're like, okay, we get it, you're mad about Sun and Moon, so like gyms are important to us too, and all the people in this region, so like gyms are a big deal. And
I am curious, they've talked a bunch of times about how gyms are pretty different this time than they've been before, which I'm curious what that means, because like I know Bob did the E3 demo,
but like
and the water gym was like pretty straightforward, where you still just like it was like puzzly things. It seemed like, you know, kind of like Lieutenant Surge's gym sort of thing.
Everything outside of the gym experience is different. Less so than like the battle or whatever being different. But I don't want to talk about how, because it's leak stuff, and this leak is at this point it's 100% out of the rumor territory and into leak. It is a leak. Somebody was upset and scorned, and they just let out all the secrets, you know. Which makes it even more weird how secretive they're being about this game. Like, it's so strange.
It really is. And it's funny too, because obviously I'm realizing now the things that they put in that leak is everything that they're going to have announced. Like, it's not everything that's different. It's just like they somehow knew, you know, maybe it was somebody that worked on the videos or something like that for them doing these trailers or something like that. And so they just know all the things that are going to be announced, but they don't know all the things that are in, you know, the rest of the game, because otherwise they would have said more things. But like, so like, far,
does
every
that mean that we're going to know
another thing.
Does that mean we're going to see the Star Evolutions before they come out?
I think so,
because they said that.
Probably.
Like, it just seems like we won't, though. It seems at this point,
feel you there.
We won't, because like I said in my video 2 weeks ago, when did I do this video? I don't know. That was a different channel at that point. But what I said in my video about last generation, they revealed them by now. We had like the final evolutions of like the 20 something. Like, we freaking knew about all 3 evolutions a month in advance. But this time we don't know anything, and they even had the whole Game Informer exclusive situation, and they wouldn't tell them, you know. So it's like,
I still think they'll probably tell us ahead of time. I wonder if maybe they'll tell us, they'll do like 3 days in a row, do like Grookey full evolution line, Scorbunny full evolution line, Stobble full evolution line, something like that. But I don't know. I bet they will do it beforehand just because they know that that's like strong ammo to get people hyped or whatever. But I'm on the camp of like, I'm down to not know pretty much anything personally.
I'm down for that. But like at the same time, well, I'm down for that 100%.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much it even like, and I know that a lot of people wait to like pick their starter until they know all 3 evolutions.
Right.
But like those people can find that information that day.
Yeah,
because like regardless of if Game Freak and Nintendo and Pokemon Company announces what the starters are, there's going to be somebody that leaks it.
Yeah.
Immediately when the game comes out. So like when you get the game, you look it up online and you see all 3 evolutions, and then you're like, okay, that's the one I'm going to pick. You know, they don't necessarily need to announce it to the world. And I think that that's just generally the better way to go about doing it, because like the people that don't want to, you shouldn't force the people that don't want to know this information to know it. But you should give the people that do want to know the information ahead of time. Yeah, kind of like how Smash Brothers dealt with it in the past, where they're like, there will be the characters that they announce, and then they announce all the other characters, but they make them hidden characters where you have to like do the whole like thing of like, this is a secret character. Are you sure? Are you sure that you're sure? All right, here it is. They should probably do stuff like that in that way.
Which, I mean, will still end up probably, it'll be plastered all over everywhere anyway, but still.
I mean, I don't know if it will, because like, I've mentioned this before, but like, I even post being on the internet and doing this, I haven't been spoiled on anything that I wanted to see or consume.
Yeah, when there's good
seek that
companies.
Stuff out.
Yeah, when there's companies, because you mentioned that last week with Max, and I feel mostly the same way, where like, if the company has goodwill and says, please don't spoil this, this is a secret, like, if this is for you to get to enjoy, you don't want somebody else to not get to enjoy it because you saw first, that kind of thing. When that happens, it seems like those 2 factors of the company, again, having goodwill and asking it, means that typically people don't really spoil it. Like, I want to say God of War, there was one of those things. Endgame, that was a thing. Like, nobody spoiled the ending for Endgame. I mean, like, a couple people here and there, but like, it was pretty easy to not have that spoiled. At least I found, based on the people I follow and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I just see all these people doing like like muted keywords and stuff like that. And it's like, I just don't know that world.
Yep.
But at the same time, I don't know the world of like perusing all this stuff, because like, I don't know. I don't usually. It's very intentional when I look at some type of like channel that would do something like that. Because like even the Game Explains of the world, I'm not like watching every video they put up. I got my own videos I got to make.
Right. Yeah.
So like the only time
I see, and they do a pretty good job of like hiding their thumbnails and stuff that when needs to be.
So it's just like I don't follow sources that would do stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I just don't really have
which
that.
Which is nice. Other thing, real quick, that I remembered from Pokemon things. The game sounds like it's 720p, 30 frames per second.
Yeah, and apparently that matters in this game for some reason. I don't think
the
it matters.
30 frames per second, especially part. I don't know why in an RPG that would ever matter.
Yeah, I don't know how that matters at all, because it's like the show is 24 frames per second, like, and it's not like this is the type of game that you need fluid like motion or whatever, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. I think you're splitting hairs on this one. Yeah. There was something else about this game that was interesting, but I don't remember it. So
I mean, wild area stuff, we touched on that some.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I mean, we didn't really talk about, I guess I will mention the Gigantamax news from this week. So Pikachu, Eevee, Meowth, Charizard, and Butterfree.
Yeah.
I know some people are disappointed, like, that was all we got. And again, based on just the conversation we just had, as far as like, I'm good to not have that much other stuff spoiled. So like, I was fine with it for just me. But
that's the other thing that they said, which we already knew, because Game Freak pretty much just said it. They just straight up said it. They're like, I think it was specifically in the Game Informer preview.
Sounded like you just went slow motion, but you just
I kind of
talked
did.
slow.
I kind of did. But it was one of those previews. It was one of those previews, and they were like, it seems like there's a lot of new Pokemon just from like not even outside of this. I mean, outside of the stuff that they already announced, like a lot of new Galarian forms and stuff like that that they can't talk about. But we kind of know that already because they said that there's over 1,000 Pokemon, and just math tells you that that's like at least 150 new ones, more than that. So like,
unless there's some semantic something that when they say it, there's like in the same way like Mega Evolutions or something like along those lines.
Gigantamax forms, but even then,
still,
even if 50 of the 170 something, because there's like what 100, I mean 800
or even different forms of stuff. I guess that's a thing too.
800 and what is the exact
12?
Yeah, something like that. It's
something
like over 200 Pokemon.
Yeah.
So like even if 80 of those are like new forms and stuff like that, that's still a lot of new Pokemon.
Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, exactly. So in any case, it'll be fun. And for me, to be honest, it'll feel like way more Pokemon than it will for so many other people.
Because you still didn't even. I freaking hashtag free product provided by Nintendo.
You sure free product.
Send it to both you and Dan. And neither one of you played it. So like that's upsetting.
I mean,
upsetting.
Again, like you just said last week about something. Who wants to pull out a 3DS right now when we got a 2DS
how dare you?
A classic Wedge 2DS.
Nintendo dug deep in their hearts and souls to send us that. And
I'm not saying I'm not going to do it eventually.
And you didn't even.
That might be the case, but I'm not saying that.
How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, man. So, yeah, all that stuff. Pokemon, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. The more and more I see about it, the more I'm just excited. So I'm super stoked to be playing that when it comes out. But yeah, other thing that's coming out, we got a fancy new Game Boy. And that's the little title I gave this section of it because that's a fun way to say it.
I've always wanted to play my Game Boy in Ultra HD, you know?
Yeah, there are definitely some things about this that are funny. We don't have to go into too much depth about it. If you want a ton of depth, go listen to Wolf Den Live. They talked about it for a very long time.
Yeah, they're the hardware guys. We're the video game people. We're the ones that are not going to say every Pokemon wrong and not get the announcement wrong, you know? But they're the ones that if you want to hear about the new Game Boy, they have tons of stuff to say about that, and they're like they're real jazzed about it. So if that's the sort of thing that you'll be excited for, go to them.
Long story short, if you want to play any Game Boy game ever in the way that'll look probably the best that you'd ever play it anywhere, this is the way to do it. But it costs $200. So
right. So
it's kind of
Pokemon
expensive.
Crystal and Pokemon Yellow and Blue and Red,
10 times resolution
and Gold and Silver. If those games and those games only you want to see in Ultra HD, then go for it. You know, because no other Game Boy game matters.
So honestly, the only thing is some kinds of pixel art, like looking. I imagine it would look better on here, but like I was looking at something pixel arty and like zoomed in, especially it's like that or blown up. You can't even tell what it is. So like sometimes I'm sure it'll look better, obviously, than the other ones did because it's 10 times the resolution, and I'm sure it's going to do a good job of doing that. They know what they're doing.
You can dock it too. You can dock it with their
that's true.
With their accessory called dock.
Hickory dickory.
That's what it's called. Just dock.
It's called the hickory dickory. So there's
included.
that. Go check out Wolf Den Live to listen to some things on that, or read the article at analog.co/pocket. Analog spelled the British way, or the sometimes American way.
In the description.
Depends.
I put these notes in the description.
There you go. Look at that. What a pro. And then the last bit of news we got. This one's not too surprising. It was going to happen eventually. It just happened to happen now. There are, as of September 2019, which is the September we just passed, y'all. We did it. We just finished September.
We did it.
There are 15 million Nintendo Switches or more, sold in North America. I put USA here. That's wrong. North America. So and also I put 15 plus Nintendo Switches. 15 million.
A lot of people are like, they're like confused on this because they think that this means Nintendo Switch Lite only. Like, there's
that's
15
very wrong.
million Nintendo Switch Lites, and I'm like, no, there's probably not even that worldwide, and there probably won't be at least until like the end of next year.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe sooner than the end of next year. Maybe like mid next year we'll get 15 million Switch Lites worldwide.
Yeah, could be. I mean, the thing is, those most likely, I'd suspect, are going to be super high holiday sellers, and then slightly mid sellers the rest of the year. Like, I think probably the rest of the year, the regular Switch would probably sell better than the Switch Lite, even though the Switch Lite's cheaper, because most people for themselves are going to buy the regular Switch. I don't know. I'm just completely speculating.
I think the Switch, it's going to be like PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro situation, but in reverse, where most people just go for the one that, cause like, if you want that much more functionality out of it for $100 more, sure, why not? The
holiday
Switch
time
Lite
is like
will
Switch
definitely
Lites.
be like, yeah, exactly. Like for the kids or the people that you don't like that much, you like them, but not $300 like them. You know, those are the people you're going to get the Switch Lite. And that's why rip Ashley's Switch Lite, because you didn't want to ultimately be in the doghouse when she figures out that's like, oh, you like me, but you don't like me. $300 like me? That's not cool.
I can't remember if I said this. We very nearly, right before we went to Belgium, traded in my old Switch, which is her Switch now, for a Switch Lite. But the only thing was, we're planning on, actually, Ring Fit Adventure comes out today. We're going to get it probably some point this weekend. And side note on that for people, so I'm gonna get it, and then depending on how things go, I'm just gonna let you guys know, because you're the ones that care of things. I'm gonna see how things go with that, and then maybe if they go well enough in some amount of months, I don't know, 3 months, something like that, I'll be like, I'll make a video that's like, I lost this amount of weight.
Parker wants to turn us into BuzzFeed. He wants to make a video that's like, I lost 100 pounds in a week. You know, that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, if I lost 100 pounds, I would not be doing. I would not be doing great. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I'd still be surviving, but it would not be pretty.
Yeah, but you got to do it for the clicks, you know?
Yeah, there you go. I can just say it's 100 pounds, and as soon as you click on the video, oh, just kidding, it was like three pounds. Just didn't eat a cheeseburger last night, so we're good.
I mean, it's 100 pounds on some planet, you know?
Yep, exactly. So all that stuff. Blah blah blah. If I do that video, I promise it'll be a fun video, and be sure to watch it and click on it, because it will not just be boring, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
but also it may not happen. We'll see what happens.
We want it to be recommended to the grandmas, you know, trying to expand. True.
So there's that. But yeah, all things considered, that's one of the reasons we didn't end up getting a Switch Lite. But we'll see on that front. But yeah, 15 million or more Nintendo Switches sold in North America.
There's 14 Nintendo Switch games that sold at least 1 million copies.
Does it say? I didn't read to check. Does it say which games?
Yep, it does.
Look at that.
4 of which selling more than 6 million, being Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. What? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold? Are you kidding me? Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What? I mean, that actually is kind of surprising. Well, it is, but it isn't. That means that a significant chunk of Breath of the Wild it's very much so a Western game. Super Mario Odyssey.
Because like Japan, I think they did pass one. It's like a 1.5 million or something like that.
I think they're more than that. I think it's somewhere around high 2s, low 3s, somewhere around there.
I'll look it up while you say the other ones.
Super Mario Odyssey, which like the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because like the and then I don't think they specified the other ones. Well, they specified like more games, but they didn't say like what their how much they sold. But they did say Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle also is in the million sellers territory.
Found the answer, by the way.
Minecraft, Fortnite, which like, I mean, can you really be considered?
Yeah,
well, I don't know. Well, because there's
physical
retail. Yeah. So who knows?
Interesting. Yeah, because otherwise it would be way more than that. For what it's worth, by the way, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in Japan has sold 1.421 million.
I thought it was more than that.
Yeah.
Rip, dude.
Well, you're stupid and I'm smart, so.
That's true. Fact.
No, yeah, but that is really a feat for Japan, because they're not super big on Zelda. I mean, obviously,
they don't like it. Yeah, they're not big fans. Not a fan.
I think that's still the highest selling Zelda game in Japan specifically ever. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. But yeah, that's a lot of games selling a lot of copies, which is pretty.
Yep,
pretty
and
dope.
that's a lot of Switches. That's a whole lot of them, and I bought 2. So
Yeah, same.
I'm responsible. Just me.
Indeed, and you are in North America, so you know what? That's you straight up.
True. I'm
They
saying.
should be sending you like a thank you card or something,
Exactly. They should
or send you free games. I don't
they
know,
should
something like
send
that.
me Smash Brothers as a thank you. You know.
Done and done.
Hashtag brought by Nintendo.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah. Speaking of product provided on Nintendo, your video this week.
Yep.
Hopefully, some of these games that you talked about will be provided by Nintendo. Is where I was going with that.
I mean, some of the ones that I talked about were, which is why I had to put the disclaimer thing there. And that's why I
True.
just made like because usually like whenever I make like the Smash Bros video or do whatever, I usually try to have like a specific graphic, like this is the game they gave me. But in videos where it's just like a catch-all of like I talk a little bit about a lot of stuff that they gave me, I'm just like, hey, here's a graphic. It's a Nintendo Switch thing, and there's multiple games. You can ask me which ones they sent, I guess, if you want.
My favorite was somebody commented, I think it was on this video, they were like, I don't think you have to say product provided by Nintendo.
Yes.
And you were like, yeah, I do.
I was like, I literally do legally, or I will get in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble. And I had the same conversation with Falcon where he was like, do you like actually have to say? I'm like, yes, I do, trust me.
It's not just bragging.
Like, there's no reason for me to say that they sent me, especially in a video like this, because it's already going to be people, which there's not a whole lot of comments that are like that.
Nintendo
but
pandering or whatever.
Exactly. There's going to be like, you're just a fanboy, or like, you're just sellout, or what. There's already going to be comments like that. People already, like, even in your video, people are like, oh, this sounds like an ad. Where it's like, all right, okay. Then where's the check at? Because that'd be great. But yeah, so like, nah, like, I just think the Switch is cool, man. And even in that video, which maybe that's why there's not a lot of fanboy comments, I freaking threw some jabs, you know, where I was like, I straight up was talking about like Kirby, where I was like, that game, don't like that.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple of things where I was like, I either don't care about this game, don't like this game, or whatever. So there's that.
This is true.
Yep.
So you got some comments, and again, if you're new, this is what we do. We read a couple comments we pulled out, and then we talk about them. Fun times. Here we go. YouTube D says, what are you talking about? The only first party games, but that's funny that it says first party games. The only first party games that we know about right now are Big Brain Age, Xenoblade, Tokyo Mirage, and Animal Crossing.
I forgot all about that game.
Brain Age?
Well, no. There's semantics, because it's not coming out worldwide.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So maybe
it
that's
still
why
could have
I
been worth
included
saying,
it.
but
I probably should include that, because that's a big deal. I'm upset that I
mean, probably not to a decent amount of the demographic that watches this video, but maybe. I don't know.
But I don't care about them.
Right.
Like, that's not. It's not. See, that's the thing about these videos. It's like, a lot of people, and like the 2018 thing, right? And I mean, to be clear, I'm joking about the I don't care about them situation. You know, some people get their feelings hurt by my sarcasm. The videos are not necessarily about like, this is going to be my favorite game year for games, or your favorite year for games, or definitively the best one for any reason ever. It just means like, this is the year where it's gonna like leapfrog itself, right? Like, it doesn't matter if any specific games or any quantity of games came out that you thought is better than whatever year that you thought is the best year. It just means that there's going to be more games that come out that more people are going to buy in on, you
broader
know?
appeal. And like, I mean, that's definitely been true because like 2018, when there wasn't a ton of first party stuff for a decent chunk of the year, there was a lot of new third party ports coming over, or like Wii U ports,
that
like different categories
nobody
of
would have
things
ever thought could come to Switch, like that sort of those
so
sort
I think
of games.
Every time
that
there's any kind of dip in one thing, something else ends up making up for it, which is like a new thing that kind of brings in more, you know,
right. And
like,
also
things.
there were a Pokemon game and a Smash Brothers game released that year. So like, even though it's not the Pokemon game that's coming out this year, which is another reason why 2019 is a bigger deal than 2018 was.
Yep.
It's still the first Pokemon game that you can get on this platform. It's the new one, it's the new Pokemon game on the new platform that everybody likes. Like that's the reasoning behind those videos. And also a big part of it is like obviously like clickability and just it's an easy way to sum up like, okay, this is a summary of this year and a look at next,
Yeah. And just get everybody hyped, because it's fun to be excited about things.
Exactly.
So let's continue with YouTube D's comment. That stuff. So Big Brain Age, Xenoblade, Tokyo Mirage, and Animal Crossing. So how in the world is it's going to be better than 2019 on that time? When at that time of 2018, we knew about New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Luigi's Mansion 3, Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing. We thought nobody knows if Xenoblade is going to be 2020 and Yoshi's Craft. There's a lot of punctuation missing in this comment, so thank you for writing it.
But I don't think that we knew about New Super Mario Bros. U. I think that got announced in November.
Yeah. No, it was in the September Direct.
Okay,
it was just like stuck in the middle somewhere.
Okay, so like I know, or maybe that was Luigi. It was some of these games we didn't know about at this specific time.
I think all of those ones we did, but again, so like, because Luigi's Mansion 3 opened up the September Direct, and then New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe was just like thrown in there at some point because it's like whatever. Okay. And then I thought
we saw Luigi's Mansion later.
It opened up that one. But yeah, still, I mean, I think the point though too that maybe you were about to make, but I'll make too, is knowing about games is not necessarily the same as them being there or existing. Like the fact that we don't know barely anything. And it's
also just the thing of like, there's always more that get announced after the fact. Like we never go into a year knowing everything. Yeah. And a lot of times the biggest games get announced later on. Like Smash Brothers didn't get announced the year before it came out. It got announced like 8 months before it came out.
Yep. So I mean, honestly, that's the thing with 2018. We really didn't know barely anything going into it, and sure, like the first half of the year was a little bit lower, excitement, as we kind of talked about a minute ago, but then it ended up
like I said in the video, but again,
but like same thing here.
Even that is subjective, right?
Yes, right.
Like that's
totally.
I played Donkey Kong Country that year. It's like I played Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze or whatever, right? But like millions upon millions. I mean, technically, not even technically, actually, billions of people have never played this game before.
That's true, yeah.
There were 13 million less people worldwide owned a Wii U than currently own a Switch just in America.
Yeah.
So for them to re-release those games, very highly regarded games from both critics and the fans that are mad that they're getting released again, like that. Those are new games to so many people.
Yep. I mean, that for me was
all those games come out at once is a big deal.
Yep. There were a lot of games around that time that I ended up picking up that I just never played before, and there were lots of other people like me. So I think I mean that's the big thing is we'll find out more things, and even as you mentioned in the video too, there's the things that we'll find out about. There's fewer obvious things. Like Smash was something where it's like it wasn't specifically obvious that's going to come out holiday 2018 in the sense that like we knew that, but it was like that's going to come at some point. So we know that that's like an unchecked box that needs to be checked at some point. Whereas now we've got fewer of those things. I mean, we've got some coming back around, like Super Mario Odyssey 2, maybe, you know, but even that's speculative. And so I think there's a lot more possibility for kind of weirder, wackier things to happen because so many other things are already accounted for.
Right. And the fact that because of how development works, we'll have more third parties that come around and like more, and like there's most likely going to be another third party game that people are like, oh, this could never happen on Switch, you know, that comes out on Switch, just like The Witcher and the year before, you know, like there's always games like that people before that are like, this is impossible, you know, so like look forward to Cyberpunk 2077 is basically what I'm saying.
Also, we didn't mention in the video, but The Outer Worlds will be coming out around then. Like people are real hyped about that game. That comes out, did that come out today? Or it's coming out now? It's coming out real soon.
It's not on
other
the
things.
Switch. Yeah, but
Not on Switch, but it's coming out later next year, and that's like pretty much new Fallout, from what I hear. So people are gonna be happy about that. But yeah, thanks for your comment, YouTube D.
You're wrong, but thank you for your opinion.
Yeah. We appreciate you writing it, and hopefully, I think you also hope that maybe next year will be better, but you're just worried that it won't. So that is fine. Odin Angie says, "Dang, I love the Switch. It's a mobile console, yet it can run The Witcher 3, and it looks great. It is a Nintendo console, so the first-party games are eye-catching with beautiful art styles." I like misreading, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It has a vast library of all kinds of great games, and it can be played on the go or at home. But feel free to disagree. These are just my thoughts on the console.
How dare you leave room for people to disagree with facts? You know?
No, that's literally all facts.
They're all facts. You know?
But it's good stuff.
So, like, how dare you discount your factual information that you just provided?
Yeah, but yeah, no, for sure though. The fact again that it's one of those things that I think we become desensitized to it a little bit over time, where like The Witcher 3 was less surprising when it was announced, partly because it had been leaked or spoiled or whatever that it was going to come. But by the time it was announced, it was less surprising that that would come than if you told somebody at the launch Switch event or whatever that like, and The Witcher 3 will be running on it, then it's like, nah, man, that's just not going to happen. So it's
unless
like,
unless you told me, you know, if you told me, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, like I even told Mitch before that there was a leak for The Witcher 3 before it happened. That I was like, yeah, apparently Witcher 3 is probably going to be announced at E3, and he was like, I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. And
if
I was
Mitch
like,
said, I don't know if that'll run, I'm canceling Mitch immediately. I'm canceling him.
He's played. We were talking about it today because you know, like there were some good reviews that came out for it and all that stuff. And he bought it on PS4 and is like partway through it, but not very far. And he's like, I kind of want to get it on Switch, but like I'm not going to because I already have it and like I don't want to whatever. But I was like, I could get it on. I'll probably end up getting it either for like Christmas or something like that, or just get it on sale later because I've got a backlog right now.
I forgot about this, but they're like the PR company that handles The Witcher. I already have contact with them, so I've reached out to them to try to get it.
Nice.
So we'll see.
If you do, we'll see. But yeah, it would be dope to play.
Because I'm not playing it.
I would definitely
I bought
play
it on PlayStation 4. I talked about this all side.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen. So
Rip Witcher 3. 7 says, my favorite games from 2019 so far. My favorite game, singular. 2019 so far is a tie between Mario Maker 2 and Link's Awakening for first-party games and Dragon Quest XI for third-party. Of course, I'll probably amend the latter once Pokemon comes out. As for 2020, I'm curious. When you say amend the latter, do you mean as in of Dragon Quest XI for third-party? And like put Pokemon in its place?
I think maybe she means swap out Link's Awakening for Pokemon.
Interesting. Let us know. I'm curious. I mean, any of those are fine, but I just would have been surprised if Pokemon replaced Dragon Quest, partly because Pokemon's not really third party, and also because I know you really like Dragon Quest, so whatever, we'll keep on going. Rest of the comment. As for 2020, I'm really excited to play Animal Crossing New Horizons, as it will be my first Animal Crossing, and I've heard nothing but great things about the series. I think my mom, who just got a Switch this week, would like that one too.
Oh, shoot.
Also looking forward to Doom Eternal, since I enjoyed the previous game a lot and just love Doom in general. I've long ago learned not to make any predictions about what Nintendo will do next, but I do hope that Atlas can find it in their hearts to put Persona 5 Royal on Switch. I've almost platinumed Persona 5 on PS4 and am crazy enough to buy the enhanced version and do everything again, and having an excuse of now I can play it portably would be a great bonus. It'd be great. It'd also be great marketing for Shin Megami Tensei 5. Speaking of, now it's portable. Where the hell is GTA 5 on Switch? Anyway, I also hope to see a new F-Zero, since I really loved that series as a kid and I feel like it's become the forgotten middle child of Nintendo's IPs. Finally, Splatoon 3 would be very welcome, but I see that more as a 2021 2022 release with Breath of the Wild 2. As always, great video, AJ and Parker a bit. Hope you guys have a great week.
Thanks. We did.
Thanks.
We did.
That is very true. Man.
But yeah, I agree with all of that.
I don't think I've ever refreshed pages as much as I have this week, because like I don't have to log into the back end stuff to see what the numbers are.
Exactly how that feels.
Like, yeah. Again, for anybody who didn't catch what we're saying, is that like again our videos started picking up this week because the one video, the algorithm certainly being happy with it, so I kept just going to our pages and refreshing. It's crazy. Like, so that video is now our number 5 viewed video ever or something like that, which is cool.
True. True.
But yeah, great thoughts on all this stuff.
It's another 100K pluser.
That's right.
Yeah, join that club. And I was talking. See, the thing that's funny is like I said a while ago. It was like a couple weeks ago. I was like, hopefully that happens pretty soon. And you're like, I don't know about that. I
don't even remember saying that, but sure, you're probably right. Man, I mean, I remember you talking with...
It'd be funny if I was talking about that video. That would be hilarious.
That would be funny. I don't even know. I remember you were talking... Well, it's fun. Okay, so here's... The funny thing is I realized that the title for that, which I think we talked about doing intentionally at the time, was because it was for a Joy-Con video, and it's the wasted potential of Joy-Cons and how to fix it. And I think we talked about at the time of like the how to fix it, not like trying to clickbait for people looking at like how to fix Joy-Cons. Yeah. Because obviously when you look at the title and the thumbnail, it's obvious that it's not talking about how to physically fix them, but like maybe it'll show up when you search for it at the same time. Yeah, exactly. So I think
it was less so a thing of like let's try to like bait in the people like try to like, you know, have them think that we're telling them how to like physically fix this problem.
Because that would be terrible for performance for no other, like if nothing else, also like waste their time.
It was more so how to address this fact from being a general issue to everybody, period.
So I think that's like this past week, it looks like there were a couple of like how to fix Joy-Cons things, and somehow that just kind of got into
for
the
most part it did what it was supposed to do. There were a couple people that were like, this didn't teach me how to do that, but like most people understand context clues,
right?
So
of looking at the thumbnail and being like, oh, there's GameCube Joy-Cons and it says the wasted potential, not like, you know, something. But nevertheless, it was funny, and that kind of stuff. But actually, I'm next week I'm planning on doing a semi sequel to the concept of that a little bit, but keep an eye out for that. You will see what it is.
Yep.
So, etc., etc. But yes, Bianca, great comments.
Video. Well, actually, no. Are we done? No, we're not done with my comments. That would have been a good segue, though, for like on to your video
that's a good
for this
point.
week. But no, rip, dude.
We do have some more. Specifically, you put them under the section Animal Crossing Love.
Yeah, because that was another part of it where I was like, just tell people why Animal Crossing is great, because a lot of people don't understand it. So like, help.
I mean, most people know this, but I haven't played an Animal Crossing before.
How dare you? How dare? Oh, we established. I don't know if you were in the stream during this time, but we're going to have a big old shared island because you got up to 8 people.
I was in the stream literally that exact point. Like I was only there for like 3 or 4 minutes because I was like just going to bed or whatever, I guess. And then I heard you guys talking about that. So I don't know if you specifically mentioned Parker's going to join, because if so, I would have been like,
of course you're going to join. Are you dumb?
But yes, that's the idea.
So I'm gonna have. Okay, what's the count so far? We're gonna have me.
So Dan, Alyssa, you, me.
Dan, Alyssa, Bob, MDB. So that's 6.
And then everybody gets to bring one person. So you're bringing me, Dan's bringing Alyssa, Bob brings, I don't know, Will?
No, forget about that. You're bringing Ashley.
Okay.
And then there's one more person. So we'll figure out who that is.
Wait a minute. What if that we like combined all of us together, did some kind of giveaway? I mean, that's kind of a dumb thing, but like just a fun thing.
Person is like a golden ticket.
Yes, exactly.
That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
I don't know. Throw it out for sure. Next time you talk to them,
we should bring that up. That would be hilarious.
Because like,
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I mean, for some people that would be, I don't know, just a fun thing.
Let us know in the comments if you're also down for that.
So there you go. There's that. Yeah, Animal Crossing. It looks dope. It's going to be great. So some people said, Books with Elves said, I love Animal Crossing because I just love Animal Crossing.
There you go.
Smart. Circular reasoning, but I'll accept it. OJP says, I can't wait for Animal Crossing.
You're not alone.
There you go. Rough 64, which is what you and Bob think in general,
True.
is because you guys think that the 64 is rough.
Because we know it's factual information.
Says, okay, this is epic. Long pause. All I want is Animal Crossing.
Okay, so to be clear, he put a whole lot of breaks. he said, okay, this is epic, and then like return.
Okay.
All I want is Animal Crossing. And then I, in turn, replied and said, thanks. Return. Same.
That was good. Well done. And then last but not least, for the Animal Crossing comments, Regina L. said, I am hyped for Animal Crossing New Horizons. I was already addicted to Wild World and New Leaf. The games let you set your own pace. That's what I love the most. And the fact that you build up an island community. Can't wait for March 20th.
True.
Yeah.
She did the closest to what I said. And she like spawned me being like, let me just like compile the comments that are there so far.
Yep.
With Animal Crossing. See, and that's the thing that's funny, because like for whatever reason, like Animal Crossing fans are like the most passionate about being Animal Crossing fans on our video specifically. Because the main reason why I made the first Animal Crossing video that I made that got, I don't know, like 100,000 some views, and then I did another video that got thousands, and then the Animal Crossing videos pretty much all like across the board do really well for our channel. It's because of that. It's because I saw so many people being hyped for Animal Crossing. I was like, yo, I should make some Animal Crossing videos.
Yep.
And that trend continues on the very video that started the trend to begin with.
I'm curious now, like, so you know how for a while when there were directs, like all people would be commenting was like Smash Bros, in the side, like just announce Smash Bros. And then also people, especially after that was announced, all people would comment is like Animal Crossing, you know.
Right.
What's
like,
that
the next
now?
thing?
Yeah, because like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's any like one unified thing other than people maybe being like, you know, like tell us more about Breath of the Wild 2 or more about Metroid Prime 4. But like most of those are things that people, since they know about, they kind of also know like, it'll happen when it happens to some degree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I think is like so exciting about this year is like they have things that it could be.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, it's
it has to be something because Nintendo's not dumb. They know that there's other consoles coming out this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And they want to maintain their momentum. So, like, whether it be a Nintendo Switch Pro or something like that, or it be a lot of software to fend off the competition, they're going to do something, you know?
I think definitely next year is when we'll see actual like price drops around the holiday or whatever. Like I don't know if it'll be consistent price drops because we have the Switch Lite, but like I bet that's the time that you'll see like a $250 Switch bundle with
I don't even know
like
if they would necessarily do that. I think what would be more likely is that they just start doing actual bundles more often. Because like I'm not.
I think the only ones we've gotten are
that
like
would be spoilers. But most times like they're not like subsidized bundles. They're just straight up like you're paying the price of this.
Yeah,
like
and it's just like a special edition ish looking one.
Yeah,
I think
like
Mario
you might
Party was the only one, or not Mario Party. Mario Tennis had one that it was like actually the game was included for $300, and that might be it. I can't remember.
And I think usually those are like
it's a digital
either
code,
like retailer specific or they're specifically in the holidays. I think
for sure.
Moving forward, they'll probably just do bundles like that.
Yeah.
Where they're just straight up bundles for $300 and the game comes with it.
Yeah. I mean, like we did with, Wii Party and Wii, all that stuff. I think Wii Party was one of the ones, I'm sure.
We had a few bundles. Yep.
We here we go. To my video. That was the transition. All right, next up, my video. We talked about some things in here, and it was good. So one of the things, also, sorry if I made the video a little too long, everybody, but thanks for watching it anyway. And the intro especially was a little long, but here we are nevertheless. And in the intro, I asked if you came up with a better title, let me know. And then and I was like, we'll read out some of the favorites. But you know what? We had like 12 or so that actually got suggested in there. So I'm just going to read all of them because that's not too many. But we'll kind of rapid fire through them. And then I'll say which ones my favorites are right at the end. Ethan R. said the title should be comment a title on this video and you get brownie points. Because I promised brownie points. And you know what? Everybody's getting them. So I will tell you the amounts you get at the end. You'll get some brownie points. Duncan
You're not just going to break it down and say how many they get as you read them?
Ethan R., you get 43 brownie points. Duncan Ketchison, this game will never die. Gone sexual, not clickbait. Which I really enjoyed. Because, YouTube titles and stuff. 71 brownie points. Griffinix. Yeah, hey, they just happened. Griffinix said 5 Nintendo Switch franchises Nintendo could turn into live service titles. And then similar theme for the next ones.
Way too long for a title. You didn't give him points.
No, 7 brownie points.
That's a hard drop.
I know. It's just the way it goes.
Dude. It's because it's too long. It's that character limit. It's because you didn't follow the rules, man.
Yep, every character over it, you lose some amount of points that I just made up. Justin said, should Nintendo pursue games as a service? Doodle Mandrew said, best potential live...
points either.
Hey, I've got a plan. Don't even worry about it. Doodle Mandrew said, best potential live service Nintendo games. And AMP said, Switch games that could thrive with games as a service. All three of those, good theme. They work. They get 29.
Last one's too long.
Hey, you know what? We're going to... 29. I'm gracious.
Rip, dude.
Nico YT said, top 5 games we can play forever. And then again, these next ones are all in a similar theme, so I'll just read them all together. Nico YT, top 5 games we can play forever. Mr. Elytraman? I don't know. 5 Nintendo games that will never die. Which
he made us demonetized. Yep. He loses points. Because we're not trying to get demonetized,
Daryl Jack said top Nintendo games that are immortal, which good use both of you guys though for the capital words. That's pretty YouTubey.
Yes.
And then Pacer said, and this one cracked me up for some reason, just because it did. 5 Switch games that will never go to sleep forever. So that one, they all get good amounts of points, but that one gets more. So there you go.
All right, well, you just threw the whole point system out of the window.
Did. They'll figure it out. They'll
points.
Know. Pat Green.
Okay, but my question is, how many brownie points does it cost to get an actual brownie?
There's actually not an exchange value for that. It's how many Troop Bucks for Stanley Nickel. It's that thing. Anybody who got that reference / just likes The Office as well, thank you for being my friend. And then the last batch, these ones are just funny and I enjoyed them. Pat Green says, okay, here's the best title, Nintendo Swap Pro confirmed. Mr. Macaroni said the title should be top 5 controversial opinions, which I'm curious which is the most controversial. Probably Mario Kart.
I think it's just because you specifically said that.
I mean, probably. But the reason I thought it would be is just because of the Mario Kart Tour stuff that, I think there's stuff in Mario Kart Tour that would do well to go into Mario Kart. So you know what?
Yep, which there should be a video in and of itself. Someone
it will be at some point.
Someone might have
probably
suggested that. Somebody, I don't know.
Last 2, Leafy says, 5 reasons you should never ask who Joe is.
All right.
I don't get it, but I like it. So here we go. And then the last one, Curtis Mary Thew 58. The Nick Fury of Switch games. 100 points. That one wins.
Okay, so
there you go. There's all
the
that.
thing about a lot of the titles that I saw, it's just you can't you gotta think you're trying to title a YouTube video,
Maybe they're just trying to have fun.
No, I understand that. I understand some of those, but the ones that are long. Or mostly the ones that are long. It's they're trying to be as descriptive as possible, which I appreciate, but at the same time, you can't people lose interest at that point because if you explain the whole thesis of the video, then people feel like they watched the video. So it's you gotta leave some air of mystery.
That's right. Nintendo
YouTube
Pro
101.
or YouTube Pro Tips 101.
Yeah.
The funny thing with these though is part of the reason I had a hard time coming up with the title was I just forgot the term games as a service.
Yeah.
And completely forgot it, which is exactly
also,
what it is.
Yeah.
And also has negative
the,
connotations, but
that's
whatever.
the thing that's also interesting about this. These titles did influence the actual title.
Yeah, because you went back and
I
changed
was like, oh wait, yeah, like games as a service.
I love that we talked about it for so long and neither of us remembered. I was like, I feel like there's a name for this. And I was like, I think it's platform games, but I was like, but when you look that up, that's just platformer games like Mario's and stuff like that. So I was like,
and that's the other part of it, like SEO, because most people aren't thinking about games as a service. So that's a bad SEO term. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's like that's why the title ended up being what it was.
Yep. So all that stuff, you guys did a good job. I appreciate everybody for chiming in. You get brownie points of the amount that you feel you deserve.
And no brownies because
no actual brownies because the mail they would be very stale. Go buy them at a store and then ask them at the store, hey, can I chip in Parker's brownie points for this? If they say yes, bam, that's the currency exchange.
There it is. See, this is okay. Galaxy Brain Play. You got to share this channel, either one of our channels.
Yep.
Even share it with as many people as possible, so we can get like famous and people know who we are, and then people will know who Parker is and say, hey, Parker said that she'll give me brownie. And then they'll know who Parker is, and they're like, I know that reference. Here's brownie.
I don't remember. This is related to that specifically. I don't remember if I've ever told this on the podcast before, but there's a chance that I did. But there was a point in high school where anytime a friend of mine was on the phone or doing something or whatever, they're Billy Bob over there's talking on the phone to somebody, and I'd just be like, oh, tell him Parker says hi. Just for no good reason. Like, it doesn't matter if I knew them or not. That was just a thing. I just was having fun with it. And then I decided, what if, I'm like 16 at this point, what if like that's just a thing? And so I started a Facebook page. I think it had like 500 followers or whatever, which was just, people, friends of mine / friends of theirs and that kind of stuff. And it was just called Parker Says Hi. And the whole motto of it was like, just tell people Parker says hi. And if they ask, don't tell them. Like, don't explain it. Just be like, oh, just Parker says hi. And they're like, okay. So I wanted it to catch on. And very quickly, like after a couple months, was like, that was really dumb.
Well, we're bringing it back up. Except it's for brownies. Tell people, specifically vendors of brownies, that Parker says that you have enough brownie points to get a brownie.
There you go. What if in our apparel line, we just got a Parker Says Hi shirt?
Spoilers.
No context.
Spoilers.
Got it.
Spoilers. Even though I get spoilers for a shirt.
So there you go.
But yeah, that's how
here's some real
happen,
comments,
dude.
though. I mean, not that those ones weren't real comments.
How dare you?
I dare. Here we go. Let's do it. Drake Sierra said the following. Said, well, Fortnite is already dying, but I guess it could live forever if it didn't have the Minecraft effect, so people getting bored and annoyed of hearing about it. But it's a good thing so their fan base dies out and gets disconnected from each other so people can learn not to be toxic.
I saw his comment and I disagree with most of it. All of it. Fortnite's not literally, they just had an event that 8 million concurrents.
That's a lot of concurrents.
They watched a black hole, a digital black hole made up of red, green, and blue dots.
Yep.
8 million people at once watch this thing. This game is very much so not dying.
So I commented...
It's the Pokemon Go thing of like, oh man, remember when everybody played that game? Now it's only making $2 million. It's like, all right, man.
I think so. I replied to Drake with some thoughts, and we'll elaborate on them here. Or I don't remember what all exactly I said then specifically, but I think with most things that are supposed to last a long time, you want to kind of let it not die out, but let it like kind of settle, like go as long as it can in its first wave, so that then you can like end up stretching the whole thing out as long as possible. So like if they had tried to move on to chapter 2, for example, at a point where it was still just like doing as well as it possibly was or something, then it would eventually, the whole thing would be kind of shorter or whatever. So like if Pokemon Go added Gen 2 in like the third week, then we'd already be, done with all the generations, and it would really die out. So Pokemon Go really is a great example of just like they're trying to make Gen 1 last as long as possible and then make Gen 2 last as long as possible, but people stay interested that way too. So I think that's kind of something there. And also having the little break between chapter 1 after that stream that was huge and chapter 2 starting up, having that black hole thing makes people miss it for like a day and a half, because it's like the Chick-fil-A effect where not everybody has Chick-fil-A where they're at, but Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. So in your mind, you associate Chick-fil-A with Sundays, and every Sunday it's like, man, Chick-fil-A would be so good right now. And you're like, I can't have Chick-fil-A. So then like you want it more other times in the week, it's that kind of thing. Yeah. So that's stuff.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder and all that.
True.
Stuff,
Yep. But good comment. I mean, I think that's definitely the perspective that they're fine with people having that perspective a little bit, because then it does mean it gets reinvigorated. But for sure, people are going to get annoyed by it. But then that's when they make the changes, Yeah.
And also, like, the Minecraft example is also weird, because Minecraft is like the most successful game ever, other than Pokemon Go. But yeah, like, and especially now, it's another game. Like, we stream Minecraft often now. I don't know, man.
I think it's funny.
I don't think this is it, Chief.
I think it is the kind of thing where, like, if something's so popular that it gets talked about all the time, like I'm not a fan of The Big Bang Theory. I watched the first couple seasons and then fell off at some point. And now, like, I do get frustrated hearing about it sometimes, because I'm like, okay, just like, stop talking about it. So
I understand that like people
on an individual basis, that's totally justified and makes sense. But I think looking at it as a whole trend also
I think it's
important.
just this bad habit that the hardcore of a fan base has of assuming that they're the majority, when often they are very much so not. So it's like people being like, oh, well, obviously, like, this is the best character, or like the favorite thing about this thing, and then like the casual fan base, the one that's really bankrolling the whole thing, feels it's the opposite about that. And that's really what this is, where it's like the hardcore
Mario Kart
fans,
Tour also kind of brilliant example of like gamers kind of hate Mario Kart Tour.
How dare you?
But then like casual fan base like loves it. Like my godson who I introduced to Mario. Actually, we're watching them this week, and he's got a list of they don't have a Switch. He just plays games on his Wii, and he's 6 now, and he has a list of games that he wants to play, like in order that he made, because his parents were like, just stop talking about stuff if you could. And because he just keeps talking about Mario and stuff like that, which is like adorable, but also they were like, we've got to focus on other things. Just write down a list in order of the games that you want to play when you're hanging out with Parker. So we've got that going. But he's got Mario Kart Tour on his phone, and he's just a kid and he's just enjoying Mario Kart Tour, and it's fun and stuff. But obviously us gamers for the most part have issues with it for our own reasons and stuff, because that's just the way it is.
How dare you even bring up Mario Kart Tour? The casual fan base is wrong about that game. Just that one. No, I'm joking.
It's fun times. But yes, Drake, thank you for your comment. I appreciate it, and interesting things to talk about. So Animated says, I see where you're coming from, but I disagree with this method. It seems like an easy cop-out in my opinion. The Wii U ports that the Switch received make so much sense due to low install base the Wii U had. On top of that, the additional content for those ports are a smart move in order to get the people who bought those games on Wii U to possibly double dip. This method of expansion on certain games is not a completely bad idea, but at the same time, it would be lackluster in my opinion. Instead of a new game of that franchise, we get an expansion instead. I feel like a lot of franchises would lose that magic if they bring with each iteration of their franchise. Also, Animal Crossing would benefit from this method if I had to choose one game.
I disagree. I think at this point, expansions and new game releases is more semantics than anything, because like Fortnite is an example that proves that a game can completely change with a single expansion. And because really at this point it's just data. It's not a situation of like, oh man, people hate this game.
As long as
we
they
gotta
build it in
release
the
the
first
next
place
game
so that it can, I guess, like.
But every game is built like that already.
Right. Yeah,
like all games are built in an engine. So just build off of that game and release a patch. You know, like it's really just a thing of like, will people care enough to like download this like 12 gigabyte file on a Switch, or like this 80 gigabyte file on an Xbox or whatever, right? But you can completely reinvent a game every time you release a patch. And for the diehards of you can do the Xenoblade Chronicles Tornado expansion situation.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Proud about Nintendo. And like do the hard copy situation. No, that was another one. Rip. Did
you get Logan?
Yep. Because he was the RPG guy, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously not big enough of one.
Yep. If he never played that, I'll probably get that at some point. I would imagine. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Rip, dude.
Fun times.
But yeah, like
I'm totally with you though. Yeah.
Yeah,
I commented on this. Sorry, go ahead. I'll say things after.
No, I was just basically saying that, like, I agree that, like, it feels that way, that it's like, oh man, it's so much of a bigger deal when a new game comes out and there's sequels and stuff like that. But I think that's more conditioning than the reality of the situation.
Right.
They want you to feel that way, and this isn't like a conspiracy of like the man is tricking you or whatever. Like not in that way, but they want you to feel like that $60 is worth it to you.
Yeah.
In that way of like, man, this is a huge deal. Man, Madden fans feel like the new Madden is such a huge deal, but like people that don't like Madden see the fact that it could just be an expansion, but then like who's going to pay $60 for an expansion? Because like the expectation is there that okay, this is an expansion, so therefore it should be on some level cheaper than buying a whole new game.
Yep.
So I think that there's just certain franchises that could benefit from that. And depending on like how they go about doing it, like I think Pokemon specifically could benefit from that. I think that like if Pokemon Sword and Shield, instead of saying like here's Pokemon freaking I don't know
Robot.
like clear Diamond and Foggy Pearl.
Oh right, yeah.
If instead of doing that they just said okay, and we're adding the Sinnoh region, give us $40. You know, like I think that would work a lot better. Them releasing 2 whole new games. Probably not for their bottom line, or maybe it would. Maybe more people would just feel, because stuff like that, like the mid generation releases and stuff like that, they tend to sell to less people. But maybe it'll sell to more people because it's cheaper. You know.
True. Yeah.
So there's some thoughts on that.
I commented. I replied to this one as well, and like I was gonna talk about just kind of the concept of diminishing returns in this video a lot more than I ended up doing. Like by the time I was writing my script, I was like, well, here I am. I didn't mention it nearly as much as I thought I was going to, but that kind of thing of like a Smash Bros game now versus a Smash Bros game. I think like that's just an easy example. I think is thinking about Smash Bros on the next console, like say it's, 5 years away or something like that they put out. I don't know. I'm just making up a number. There's, again, unless it just doesn't feel like there would be enough for them to do different unless they do, which we'll go to in the next comment actually, something like drastically different, which to be honest, I'd rather they have more time to work on in that case, that kind of thing. Which, and especially just for like things that are just graphics based, like we're not moving as quickly in terms of like perceivable differences. Like there's obviously like things are happening just as quickly as far as like improvements go on a technical level, but like to our eyes 8-bit to 16-bit is way more different than like I don't know, not that, things along those lines. So that said, I think what this means for me theoretically is like you said, expansions being able to make more changes in and of themselves, and I don't really want. The conclusion I came to kind of at the end of the video was have games theoretically, like these kinds of games that can afford to have them last 2 generations rather than 1 generation. So like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, how that came over to here. And I wish we'd gotten some more content on that on top of it, like, as well, like come out as DLC since then, like we've talked about on the show a bunch of times.
Right.
But,
and at the very least, because like Nintendo, at least recently, or since Wii, really, Wii and GameCube, they like they make big jumps in cycles. Like they're kind of like on a TikTok cycle where it's like, okay, here's our big jump. We're the GameCube generation now, right?
Yep.
And then you have the talk, which is Wii, which is like, we're the GameCube, but with more, you know?
Right.
And then Wii U comes out, and it's like, we're HD now. And then the Switch comes out, we're HD, but more, you know? I think that it would make sense to do that with those generations, and rather than saying, here's Smash 4, and here's Smash 4, but more characters, you know? They just say, here's Smash Bros. Ultimate, or whatever the starting point that they decide to do this with.
Yep.
On the talk generation, just release that again, but add additional content.
Yeah.
Because, like, on a technical level, it's easy to look at a game like Splatoon 1 and a Splatoon 2 and say, like, you clearly just added more content and then it, like, freshened it up a little bit, right? Whereas with other games, they actually do the thing that they, like, is the marketing thing with, like, Smash Ultimate, where it's like, it's from the ground up. And it's like, it's clearly not from the ground up, but you did more, you know? And just do it like that, you know?
Because
on the TikTok model.
What I hope that would do, too, is allow for more interesting just experiments or whatever in the meantime, because they've got more resources to be able to do an F-Zero game, or, you know, like, other single player, another Golden Sun or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. That would just be cool if it would allow them to do more different stuff, so that even if the like really different changes on these like major franchises aren't as quick between each other, like part of what I think Nintendo fans really enjoy is having just a whole wide swath of like really different stuff to get to try out anyway. So I don't know, I think that would be cool and fun. But yeah, Animal Crossing would also be a good one. So people like Animal Crossing this week. So there you go.
Yep, true.
Yeah, that's it. GPMPO1 says, instead of a new 2D fighter, they should make a 3D fighter with fewer characters and a roster updated for the year it applies to, rather than characters from games that were popular on the SNES. Sorry, NES and Cap. But Smash Ultimate should be ported with all its DLC like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but include a new single-player campaign so people who care about that get something too. If Sakurai is cool with it, they should do more DLC for it as well.
All right, so I have mixed feelings on this. I think that kind of changes, not necessarily, well, both of those things fundamentally change what Smash Brothers is, because like it has become like this celebration of video games. So for them to be like, all right, well, this one is kind of like a mini celebration of just this era of video games and nothing else, you know, would be weird. And on gameplay level, I don't know how Smash Brothers will work in 3D.
I wondered that so many times.
There's just moves that would be broken. Not broken in like the fighter game, you know, not in that way of like, this is too good. It's just like, you couldn't do side B, you know?
Yeah, right.
So like, how would that work? You know, like that situation, like I guess they could map them to more buttons, but then that would make the game, like, I don't know how Smash Brothers, they would have to make, I could see maybe them doing, like making Smash Brothers like a bigger IP, like a bigger franchise of like, this is a Smash Brothers title, but it's like a offshoot rather than like, this is the sequel to like the Smash Brothers you know already.
So I think that's the problem with Smash specifically, is the question of where can they go that feels like progress if it's not more characters, and it's like there's not a whole lot of just better graphics that they can do, like not substantially better graphics. Like if they just came out with another game that has a smaller but different roster because they can't get the same roster again or whatever.
I think it's just a matter of mechanics. It's the same thing with like a Street Fighter or whatever, right? Like Street Fighter is still Street Fighter, but they add like you got the EX specials now, like that type of crap. They could do stuff like that, or just like add new attacks, like attack distinctions and stuff. Like, you know, they got like the tilt attacks and they got smash attacks, special attacks. What happens if you add more to that sort of situation? And like they're kind of already doing that, like on a character specific level of like now more and more characters that get added to the game have like their own individual meters and like perks and stuff like that. So I think it's just a lot of stuff like that. Like even if they pare back on the amount of characters that they add and that are in the game in general, I think that they'll try to do like a lot of fundamental changes to make characters more sophisticated in that way. Whereas like now Mario has a like a mushroom mechanic, right? Where it's like if he gets to a certain percent, then he gets smaller or bigger or whatever, right? Like that sort of thing,
Right.
like adding more of the game's DNA into like a character specific mechanic of some sort.
Yeah.
And it not just be about the attacks.
Right. Yeah, so I mean I think that's interesting. I do like the idea of, in general, I mean, I think Smash is about celebrating the historicity of video games and things, but definitely there are newer characters that, because of, the way that it works to make the games and stuff like that, just we don't have any first party Switch characters that I can think of on there, like new, which probably will come in past too.
I think that's less about like trying to fit in the characters that everybody wants, and more about timing.
Yes,
because
I
this game, they started this game right after they finished the last one, before they finished the last one, technically. So
and like even if they'd wanted to put an ARMS character or something like that in there, it's entirely possible that, knowing how games just get canceled sometimes, that ARMS could have been just canceled at some point before it came out while they were working on it, and they're like, well, there was that character that we worked on for a game that ended up not coming out or something.
I think it was just a timing thing. It's like, okay, by the time they already had all their characters finalized by the time they knew what ARMS was,
right?
So it's just timing. Maybe eventually. Because
but I do
that's
agree,
how DLC works.
True. I do agree with the last point on that part, and then he's got a second half to his comment. But that if it gets ported to the next console, that it should have a new single player campaign, so that people, because that would be, because I mean, honestly, I put the most time into the single player campaign. Because
you're big dumb,
I am a wonderful human that you just are going to have to deal with. So that's stuff. The second part of the comment says, I think Splatoon 2 should be abandoned in the hopes of quality of life adjustments, such as seeing the minimap on the HUD, letting people choose any map, but give players incentives for playing on certain maps, like in Mario Odyssey's balloon mode. As for the title, something like 5 Nintendo live service games, which I feel meh about, and some pictures of Switch games, but with a Switch logo, will be the swap logo. I like that he gave a thumbnail idea too. That was a good addition. I can't speak to a whole lot of the Splatoon 2 stuff.
I mean, I don't really like the HUD being... I don't like how they handle the HUD currently, because it just worked before with the gamepad. Like, just looking down at the gamepad and be like, I'd never look at the map now. Ever. Because pulling it up is just that annoying.
Yeah, right.
But also, I don't know if I would like it taking up that screen real estate, because then, like, there could be like a whole segment of ink that's under my HUD, and I will know because my HUD's there. So
right.
It's like,
for what it's worth, I mean, I think to my understanding of it too, as long as if nobody has access to it, then it doesn't matter as much, because it's just something that's just like now part of the I just noticed this spot over there that needs ink or whatever. Like, they took this spot back over something, where it feels more like something you learn from the perspective of the gameplay rather than from a top-down perspective, which is different and maybe a little bit worse. I don't know, but it's just different. And as long as everybody's on the same field there, and not somebody has, gets to play with the gamepad and somebody else doesn't, which obviously is, that's not how it works. Everybody does have the same thing. So as long as that's the case, then I think people will adjust to it, even if it's not quite as good on that front, in the same way to like some of Mario Maker 2, creating stuff is a little bit worse just because of the way that the game's built and all that. But yeah, good thoughts. And last comment on this video before we go into the Q&A section is from Grimhane, and he says, what can make a game truly evergreen?
I think most games that aren't dependent on narrative or like a single player campaign of some sort could, in theory, be evergreen. Because multiplayer, for the most part, multiplayer games, you're only done when you get tired of the content that's there. So like, people could, in theory, play Mario Party forever if they just kept adding more boards, or had solid enough boards where it really becomes a board game, right? Because you're not like, man, I would play Monopoly more if it had DLC. It just already is solid.
I would just play Monopoly more if people didn't get so butthurt on it.
Yeah.
I do like board games a lot. Monopoly is not one of them, though. That I enjoy.
Rip, dude.
But no, yes, I think it's funny too, because when I read this comment, I was thinking of it more in the, I guess, like more traditional kind of evergreen, which I think would be interesting to talk about in more detail as well. I don't know, in like a video or something like that. But like, you know, A Link to the Past. Anybody can pretty much pick up A Link to the Past now, and it'd be like, you know, that kind of thing, which is obviously not the context of this video.
I think that's like the context of this video is more like player specific.
Yeah.
How
can one player play it forever, as opposed to how could somebody come to it for the first time forever?
Yeah, essentially, how can Nintendo sell it forever versus how can I play it forever? Or keep buying it forever, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the same thing, but like. Even that, I don't think that a lot of those games are evergreen in that way. Like, I might buy Link to the Past over and over again, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to keep
there's a limited amount of things to do in that. So it's the opposite of singularly evergreen. You know, eventually, like you'll get to a point where you've withstood as much as you can take, which is less true about certain kinds of multiplayer games or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody's different in that way. Like some people literally, like I'm like Max, right? Like a lot of people are like, man, this Metroid game, I love it so much, I'm going to beat it at least once a year or whatever.
Yeah,
right? I'm not that person.
Me neither.
At all.
Much as I love a lot of games, like I have cherished times in my life. Like I think back to like when I was playing that game and like think of it fondly, which kind of makes me want to not play it over and over again and have it, you know, like that's, I don't know. That's interesting. That's a thing.
There are games that I'll pick up and I'll like want to play. Like the only games that the only games that I've beaten multiple times is Pokemon games, and it's never because it's like I want to beat this game just because it's there, right? It's always either somebody being like, yo, like my brother, he has these random realizations where it's like, yo, we need to play Pokemon Diamond or whatever, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Or it's a thing of like Pokemon Let's Go's coming out, and it's like I want to compare that to Yellow, so I'll play through that. But I don't have the like. It's not like I love this game so much that I'm going to play it forever, at least twice a year. You know, it's like I don't know about that. Unless it's a multiplayer, like unless it's an evergreen game, you know, and that's in a singular way.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Like Smash or anything like that.
Right.
Truth indeed. But yeah, that's an interesting question in a bigger picture as well so I don't know, maybe that'll be a video or something at some point too, probably a little ways down the road if so, because I've got some ideas. Although I don't know, my video next week is going to come out on Thursday of next week, and then the week after that would be coming out on Halloween, and I don't really know, I don't know whether to tailor it towards Halloween-y type things or not, because people will be annoyed by that. I
mean, would they?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, like, I have no idea. Because also, I don't care about horror games, so I'm not going to be like, the best horror games on the Switch, because I don't know. So, I mean, otherwise I'd just be looking at a list.
You could go in the other direction.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the games that'll keep you less scared during the spooky month.
True. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. So I'll think about that as well. If you guys have any things or any thoughts on the topic of like, I hate watching Halloween-based stuff around Halloween or Christmas-based stuff around Christmas. Not that there's Christmas games, really. But nevertheless.
But speaking of evergreen, it's a good idea to do Halloween-specific videos and holiday-specific videos because every year they'll be relevant and people will search for them. Anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, look up All I Want for Christmas Is You. Look up the metadata for that video and look how it spikes.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh, man, there's some painful Mariah Carey videos as well. Like, she performed live, I don't know, it was sometimes she like had a cold or something like that. It was the GMAs or something, and it was like, I don't know, probably something. She was performing that song outdoors, and then somebody took just her audio track singing and isolated it, and it's awful. Like, so bad. At some point, she tries to do runs, and like, again, she has a cold, so like, I feel bad for her, but it's still so bad, and it's so funny. And she's like, and like, it's really funny. So yeah, that stuff. But you know what? That's it for the comments on those videos. But now we get to the last part of our podcast, which is Q&A. So that's a number of things. The first bit of Q&A we do is actually go into the comments from last week's podcast, of which I just realized I only grabbed one actual comment. So if you've got I started to, and then whatever. So there we are. I only grabbed the one, but I did want to. This is where I was going to mention the thing that I. AJ, your video is so dark right now. I know we're not streaming. I mean, it's fine. I don't care. I can imagine what you look like in theory.
Where's the? Oh my god. That's on the other side.
I'll tell you the things anyway. You can do whatever you need to do. Okay. Last week I listened to the podcast, and I mean the week before that too. But last week I listened to the podcast. Oh, look at the light! It's so bright. I can see your face. Okay. I listened to the podcast, and there were a lot of things that I wanted to chime in on, but the only one that I remembered after the fact was you and Max talked about the best Doritos, and there was definitely some confusion about certain things. And as somebody who lives in the U.S. but grew up in Europe, I can be the Dorito ambassador for both of you.
You're going to tell us about the trash Doritos that are in Europe?
So I'm going to clarify a thing. There's, you know how like you can just buy tortilla chips here at the grocery store?
Yes.
There's not like a billion brands of tortilla chips there, so Doritos fills that gap. So they're like original flavor, just straight up tortilla chips. But like over there, it's considered like, oh, we're just gonna dip some Doritos in salsa because like it's just a tortilla chip. And so the like hint of lime one, same thing. It's like our tortilla chips but with hint of lime.
Gotcha. Okay, more acceptable. That's
yes. Okay. Fun fact too. He mentioned Cool Original. I think is what they call Cool Ranch in UK. In France and Belgium at least. I don't know about the rest of Europe, but at least in those places, it's Cool American.
Okay.
Because again, there's no ranch over there either, so it's Cool American.
Weird,
and, yeah. And I tried that.
Ranch.
He mentioned the roulette one, which we just don't have here, and that's
probably because it's gross.
It was specifically in the bag. Some of the flavors I can't remember exactly, but like. There was like a mild and a spicy, pretty much is the idea. Like the mild was like taco sauce flavored or something like that, you know, like whatever. So it's just mild. And then like, but same color, there was some that were spicy and you'd like just not know which one was going to be which. And it was like, I guess kind of like the idea
like
of the jelly
Harry
beans.
Potter,
yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. But a little less. I'm not going to say fun because I don't like the Harry Potter jelly bean thing at all. Like, I just don't want to get into eating gross jelly beans. Like, I don't even like regular jelly beans that much. So
true. I don't like jelly. It's a texture thing. Texture's kind of weird.
The funny thing is, like, I like a lot of like that kind of candy for the most part, but specifically the jelly beans flavor.
What does that mean?
I mean, just like gummy candies or whatever, you know.
But like, our jelly beans are really gummy.
That's a good point. They're like kind of like a bit pasty
and like chalk. Like
I'm with you on that. So we'll.
Jelly beans are gross, dude. They're not like candy corn bad, but like they're like. Okay, jelly beans are like, except for the Jolly Rancher jelly beans, those are dope. Those are dope. Even though they still have the like weird, but they're like kind of more gummy. But anyway,
right.
What was I talking about? Oh, they're like they're like high low tier, you know?
Okay, yeah.
They're like high low tier candy. Like they're not down there with like freaking circus peanuts and candy corn, but they're like right above that.
Man, candy corn is one nobody should like candy corn. I was
about to say,
I don't like candy corn.
Okay.
But if there's just like a bowl of candy corn sitting in front of me, I'm dumb. And I'll just be like, I'll eat candy corn. And I'll be like, that wasn't very good.
Okay. All right. Okay. I thought, all right. I had a whole emotional roller coaster going on. First, I was about to cancel you. And then I was about to have a therapy session of like, because first I thought you were going to be like, you know, candy corn, like in theoretically.
No, in theory it's gross. In front of me it's acceptable that it exists, and I'll end up eating it because sweet things.
And then like after you eat it, you regret it because like
I'm like, what was the point?
You at least make that much sense, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I do have to just report back in on the pear saga.
Okay,
this was the funniest thing. Ashley still cracks up at this when I told her about it, and like we'd bring it back. She brought it back up like 20 times since then.
The theoretical pear thing?
No. Well, it was a pear thing, but it wasn't that pear thing.
Oh, okay. It's a different pear
I went
thing.
to the grocery store while I was in Belgium and was buying I bought some Doritos, funnily enough, sweet chili pepper ones, which I didn't finish, and I just left them there at my parents' house, and now I'm like, I want the rest of them.
Some of those too after podcast completely
they're
removed from any of this.
Yep.
And I just had them, and they're tasty. I mean, as I said, they're the best ones.
They
but
are.
Like
100%.
They're the best ones.
So I bought some like little salami slice thingies and sweet chili pepper Doritos, and I went up to the register, and the lady like put them up there, and then you guys can't see me because video and whatnot, but she very slyly put a pear up with the other things and said, "Et un cadeau," which means and a gift. And then I was just like, okay. Like, obviously they just bought too many pears, I guess, and then just decided to give me.
You know what would be the best thing? It would be the best thing if she was like, in theory, like this. Oh my god, that would have been hilarious.
Gift. But like, it was. Yeah, so she gave me this pear, which random, and then my dad checked out right after me because he got some things too, and I was like, "Dad, do you have a pear in your bag?" And he checked, he had a pear in his bag too. Like, something went on with all that. I'm curious about what it was, but literally later that night, and I posted a picture of this on Twitter.
Yeah,
I went to go pick up my friend James at the train station, and as we were walking out from the train station, there was a random pear. This was like probably like 2 or 3 tram stops down, so it's possible, not likely, but possible that somebody went to that same grocery store, was given a pear, and was like, "I don't want this trash," and just dropped it off. So yeah, long story short, I ended up eating the pear that she gave me as a gift, and yeah, I stand by my like. There was a good flavor somewhere in there, but the texture like was not consistent with what I would hope, and the flavor wasn't strong enough.
So you don't like pears.
So that was a bad pear, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. You know what? It'll all be worth it when they buy the shirt. My anguish.
I love Bianca commented something theoretical. I can't remember what it was on or anything, but she said something theoretically something, and I was like, I appreciate that. Whether it's for the joke or in reality, I appreciate it. So that stuff. Moving on, Grimhane, the only one that I ended up pulling from last week's comments because I forgot to keep doing it. Grimhane said, so Homer's Odyssey is the sequel of sorts to Homer's Iliad, thus Mario Iliad as a sequel to Mario Odyssey as a play on that.
Yes, I was aware.
Yep.
Max was confused.
Max,
but I knew.
We love you, but stop being confused. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next comment. Grimhane also said, technically speaking, Mario has been to another dimension, depending on how you treat the Mushroom Kingdom versus quote-unquote the real world.
Yeah.
I don't remember what this was in reference to.
Because who commented this? Somebody commented and said, if Mario, like, where would Mario go next? Like, Mario's been all over the place, man. He's been in space. And then I made a joke that it's like, that's when you get canceled. Like, you go to space and then you're done. Like, the show's over.
There you go.
But he's already been there and back. So, like, where's he going next?
Yep.
And Max was like, other dimensions. And I was like, sure, I guess.
Wait a minute. Minish Cap. Just shrink him down a lot. And like, I mean, we've got mini Mario in like New Super Mario Bros. Or whatever, where, you get the mini mushroom and all that. But like, he's already done that. I forgot.
Yeah.
Bowser's Inside Story and all that stuff.
Yep. Mario's done everything, man. He's like The Simpsons. I
was trying to think of sports with you guys, like, because even if he doesn't have a game where he's done it by himself, speaking of The Simpsons, I'll come back to that in just a second. Even if he has a game that he hasn't, like, he's had Mario Tennis and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's done all the sports in some kind of like multi-sport game kind of thing, Mario Party or Sonic vs. Mario, blah, blah, blah.
He didn't do cricket.
So he just...
did he do...
Yep, he sure did. I was going to say, like, horse racing, 100%. There's a horse racing mini game and something.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's everything. So
Mario does too much.
Mario does too much.
Dude. Sit down.
But, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. The thing I was going to say just a second ago, but then didn't, was Simpsons. The past couple seasons especially have been like, I don't think I've kept up with them for a long time now. Past couple seasons haven't been like that great, but like I keep watching them because it's The Simpsons, and you know what? I'll stand by that. But the last episode 3 of season 31, very funny. I laughed out loud many, many times. So that thing.
I still haven't seen like an entire episode of The Simpsons. I don't think.
When it comes out
I
on
see, like,
Disney Plus, if you're going to get
chunks
that at
of
all, season
probably.
5 is the strongest season by a long shot. But other ones right around that, like season 6 is real good. Season 7 is real good. 8 and 9 are also pretty good. And then like after that is definitely weaker, but 5 is my favorite for sure.
I've just consumed Simpsons through memes, and that's it.
I mean, works.
So it's like I get a lot of the references and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's a Simpsons thing. I mean, I made a Simpsons reference 5 minutes ago.
True.
But I haven't watched them in the show themselves, unless they're like in a YouTube clip or something like that. But I haven't watched like a full 22-minute or whatever episode of Simpsons.
That's true. You don't really watch much stuff anyway, so I guess, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Facts. I don't watch things. I don't have time to commit to that, nor the attention span.
Yep. Speaking of committing to things, though, we commit to answering your questions, which these ones weren't even here in time when we started the podcast, but they're here now. In the YouTube community tab, we got 2 questions. We got one from Lizdrin that says, this question is from Lizdrin. Parker, sup Lizdrin. And says, hey Parker, what Belgium like? And I guess not to leave AJ out, what's America like?
How dare you? Hey man, I've been places. I've been to. We had this conversation on the. I was about to call it a podcast on the Minecraft stream yesterday. We were just randomly talking about traveling places. Nice. Oh, because Bob's going to the Nihon.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I was like, I've been to like Canada and Mexico.
I've never been to Canada or Mexico.
Like, I've been to Hawaii, and that's in America, so like Hawaii's cool, dude.
True that.
I went to go to Black Sand Beach, but my stepmom was like, so we didn't go there. So rip, dude.
I've traveled. I mean, because again, like I lived in France for 10 years and in Belgium for 6 years. So like I just lived over there. So traveling around Europe, once you're over there, super easy. So like while I lived there, I traveled around a lot of places just because it's just as easy. It's just about as easy
it's like
to
going
do that
to another
as it is
state.
To go to like from, Pennsylvania, Tennessee or whatever. Which happens to be the places that you and I respectively live.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, Belgium, again, I lived there. So like, it's not, it's hard to say like what's it like in terms of as a outsider or whatever, because you just kind of felt like, oh yeah, this is my place a little bit. But
this is my place.
It's man, I don't know. We were in Brussels just because that's where my folks are, and it's a small city. It's a small big city, or I'd say it's a small big city is probably the best way to describe it, because it feels like a bigger city in the downtown type parts and all that, but also is like it's real pretty in a lot of places as well. There's a lot of parks and things. It's a pretty green city, not in just terms of ecological or whatever, but in terms of just like they plant lots of trees around so that it feels nice a lot of places. So if you've been to the Village in New York, which I just barely have been to at all, a lot of it to me feels kind of like that, depending on neighborhoods you're in and stuff. But a lot of it feels kind of like that sort of thing, like lots of townhouses and like kind of trees in the medians and that kind of thing. So I like it a lot. And then outside of that, there's like, it's pretty flat. There's
you could have went to that convention and played Pokemon, but
I know, man. If I
made poor life decisions,
true that,
and booked the wrong week or weeks.
Yep. Curtis Merriweather 58 asks, "Is this also on Spotify?"
Yes,
update.
it is.
Never mind. Find it. Found it. He found it. Long story short.
Okay.
So yes, you know the answer to that now.
There it is. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there you go.
It was a long, hard fought battle, but we got there.
Yeah. Which apparently it's a lot easier now from what I hear. Things. So that's funny.
Which is upsetting. I'm upset about that. I want people to earn it,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I'm glad for other people, but
we had to send several emails for months and then join another service and stop paying the other one that you were paying for however many months ago.
Were you guys on before Anchor?
Yeah, exactly. And then go to Anchor and then do all that.
What service were you guys using before you went over to Anchor?
SoundCloud.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We were on my other podcast before this was on Podbean, which was like, it was pretty good, and it put us on Spotify, but
They were
you
like
had to pay for
emailing
it.
us forever, and I was like, no. So I don't want to go to Podbean. That sounds dumb. And
I mean, especially when you don't have to pay for hosting from Anchor.
Exactly. Like Anchor's just so much better.
Yeah.
And this isn't an Anchor ad, although like technically I could get an Anchor ad because like there's ads on there, which is another reason why Anchor is so much better than the other things. So get Anchor. You know what? I'm doing an Anchor ad. Not on this podcast though. In the future,
cool.
We're doing it. Confirmed.
You've been warned, people. There you go.
So if you have a podcast, just put it on Anchor, dude.
True.
Just do it.
So that's the questions from the YouTube community tab. We got 2 more places that we have questions that we ask. One of them is Twitter. And John Francis asks us, would you ride a motorcycle?
Sure.
Are we talking driving a motorcycle or riding on a motorcycle with someone else?
True. That's true.
The
that
second,
changes
easy
it.
enough. Like, yeah, just bingo bango, just do it. Why not? Like, as long as it's not like some stranger being like, hey, you want to ride on a motorcycle? probably not, you know. But if someone's like, yeah, I got a motorcycle, you want to try? I'd be like, this is going to be like a little awkward and up close and personal for a bit, but you know what? It'll be fun. I've rode it on a moped before, which is not, you know, that's kind of like,
yeah, that's like a fake motorcycle,
like
dude.
that.
I rode on a jet ski, and that's like a water motorcycle.
oh,
and
nice. I
Water
think I
motorcycle.
maybe rode on one once, but it was so long ago. If so,
I almost
then maybe
bought
I just
one
saw
when I
one.
lived in Florida, but then it was like, no.
Yeah. Then you
I was
moved
like,
away
what am
from
I going
Florida.
to do with this when I'm not in Florida?
You'd use it so much up in Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, but there's a lot of things like that where it's like, yeah, if I had a good reason to, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to skydive, but if I was with some group of people that it's like, we're all going to go skydive and I'm going to pay for you guys all to go, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll go. But I don't really care enough to go out of my way to try to do it. So that's a little bit how I feel like about a motorcycle.
Same. I mean, that's how I feel about most things.
That's
Where it's like,
granted,
it's like, man, I got stuff to do, and I already am bad at scheduling my day out as it is. So like, it's an effort to deviate from that and do stuff like that.
Yep.
Cause then I gotta like do my video early, man. Like, what? Crazy.
True. Next question comes from DJ Lewis, and it says, what are your favorite video game
From
soundtracks?
Lupats. He's from Lupats,
It
right?
is true. I was about to say it, and then I just didn't for some reason.
He's from Lupats. Our friends at Lupats.
Go check
to
them out. DJ
lupats.com.
is a fun old guy. He shows up on their podcast sometimes, and he talks, and is nice and friendly and fun.
Yeah, they still didn't invite us to the podcast, so when you go to Lupats, throw eggs at them. All right?
Yeah, something like that. DJ asks, what are your favorite video game soundtracks? Bonus if you can pick your favorite video game song of all time.
I'm cheating. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say Smash Bros.
Bros.
Ultimate, because there's
Got it. I guessed
900 songs or something like that. It's a lot of songs, dude, and you know it's a good song. The Donkey Kong, what is it?
Oh, man, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The plank, that one. The King K. Rool song.
Yeah.
That's a bop, as the kids
It is.
say.
That is a bop. Man, what is that? It starts with a G, I think.
Yeah, it's like
Plank or
gang plank something. Gallows.
Let us know in the
crap.
comments, because we obviously don't know, and we're not going to keep making up words for forever. Or we are.
King K. Rool. I wonder if Siri knows. Let's ask Siri.
Go for it. Here, while you... okay. Yeah.
How am I going to ask Siri while you do something else? It
I
doesn't
don't
even make
know.
any sense.
I'm just trying to
Hey,
be
Siri,
efficient and helpful.
What's the King K. Rool song in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Great audio. So
Oh,
good.
she found it. It's Gangplank Galleon.
Oh, that's the one.
See, I'm a professional, so I had my phone on silent, so you couldn't hear what she said.
That's so smart. Look at you go. Yeah,
but
Smash
there
Bros.
it
That's
is.
it's a good cop out one, but it's also an accurate one. I mean, because it's got a lot of bangers on there. So
Yeah, and I can't just like say Donkey Kong Country or whatever because
Right.
like that one's not as good.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm
Sorry
not
about
going to
it.
say Smash Bros. Ultimate because I'm not a cheater. Also because it wouldn't be accurate just because it just wouldn't. For me,
dare you.
here's
How dare you.
I'm going to give a couple. Here we go. I think for its inclusion within the game.
Oh, Cadence Hyrule's also dope. That one's cool too.
Cadence Hyrule was pretty dope. That was fun. So, okay, for just the way that it fits, like, not just soundtrack that I listened to on its own, but within the game and like how it's used and stuff. Breath of the Wild. I love the music in Breath of the Wild because it just, like, as somebody who plays music and stuff too, it was really fun just seeing like how they did a lot of things and whatever. I don't know. It was just a lot of fun seeing like, oh, that's an old song that they just like retooled. And it's just really sneakily in there. Like when I first walked in the Temple of Time and figured out that that was the Temple of Time theme, but super slowed down, I was like, you guys, you did it.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So there was a lot of good things there. But as otherwise, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is great. There were multiple times in that game that I just like put the game down and just like was listening to the music from it. And specifically, it wasn't like there's all sorts of like tons of games have great bangers, I feel like, as you know, just upbeat songs. And I like upbeat songs, and like, you know, the Doom soundtrack, I listen to a lot of metal, and the Doom soundtrack's a lot of fun for that reason. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just had the best, I don't know, like atmospheric and like really pretty stuff, and it hits all the right spots for me particularly. I actually had a side note on this one that I wanted to say. I even have my guitar here to prove a little point that I'll show in a second. But the Indoline Praetorium, the day and the night cycle for that region is like the best thing of all time. As somebody who grew up like in choir and stuff for a really long time and did a lot of like a cappella, very choral things, but not like the Glee kind of a cappella, more like what's his name, Eric Copeland, I want to say, maybe, or Eric Copeland, I think, does that kind of thing. That's all a whole lot of fun. But one caveat with the whole Xenoblade Chronicles 2 soundtrack, there's a song. It's I always forget what the area is called. It's in Gormott. It's the town in Gormott.
Hey, sure.
Yeah. So it's the town of Gormott. I love that there's a day and night cycle of most of the music, but this song, when it's upbeat, it's like and like very Celtic and like festive and things. And then when they put it downbeat, like slow it down for the nighttime, it's very, there's some notes that are the same as they are in the upbeat bit, but when they pull it down as in the tempo, they're like, they should be passing notes because they're faster, but instead now they're slowed down, and it's super, super dissonant. Like sounds off. This is just for music theory people. I apologize. Long story short.
Yeah, like if you're like a nerd, dude.
Yeah. Here's I got my guitar. Here's the thing, just real fast. So they got some things going on. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but pretty much.
I mean, you could do it, man.
Right,
this is the segment of the podcast. If you got the Q&A, you're in. Dude.
Yeah, you're in. Here we go. The main melody is. Yeah, whatever. I just figured it out right before.
Yo, directly to you, man. Made it. We got musical performances now.
So it's pretty much that, which is great on its own, and it works over the chord progression, which is like. Something like that. And then they put the stupid harmonies over the melody line, and long story short, because it's kind of tricky to play with getting the chords in there as well. There's one bit where they do this chord because the melody is going, which is going down in fourths, which is kind of janky in the first place. Whatever, doing some stuff like that. And then they end up hitting this chord, which is the grossest thing of all time in that context. Like if you're thinking like funk jazz kind of stuff, like sure, that works great. But in the context of playing in D major, having an A dominant 7 flat 10 chord is disgusting. So that, long story short, huge pet peeve of mine. The rest of the soundtrack is glorious. Moving along.
See, the thing that's fun, I'm not going to get into this. I'll talk to you after we're done.
Okay.
But like, yes.
Yeah, good times. All right, moving along. We got just a couple more comments. Bianca Wicks asks, made it early this week. Anyway, my questions. If you were a starter Pokemon, which of the standard 3 types and what kind of animal would you be? What would you evolve into? To make it more interesting, you can't be the same type as the starter you're going to use for Sword and Shield, and you can't be an animal that's already been done. We have enough monkeys now, LOL. Oh, and in case you ask and I miss it somehow, yes, you can gain a second type when you evolve, but try to aim for a combo that hasn't been done for a starter yet. No firefighting.
Oh man. No, I'm joking. I wouldn't have picked that anyway. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to stay with the theme here. So I would do. No, they already did that one. Which one didn't they do?
So that means that I'm picking Sobble 100%. So I've got to be grass or fire.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick a different one from you just to make it interesting.
Okay, so I want to do fire.
Cool. I'll do grass.
And I'm going to do a fire snake. And he's going to evolve into a dragon type.
Oh, because there hasn't been oh, yeah, interesting. You'd think with Charizard, but nope, sure enough.
Nope. And it's because they haven't confirmed this, but it seems like they're following the Chinese zodiac signs. And snake is one that they didn't do yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, I would have did dragon, but they already did that.
Yep.
With Charizard. So
okay, let me think. I'm going to work backwards and think what I want it to be in the end, type-wise, and try to think of a good animal for that.
Okay.
I don't know if I can think of a thing that matches both of these very well. I'm trying to think of a grass steel type. Because
grass steel.
Like, what's an animal that would... I feel like something with a lot of, like, rust or moss or something like that, you know? But that's not, like, just a specific animal. So,
I mean, I guess, like, you could do, like a rhino, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, that could easily be a steel type.
Right.
And it eats
could be
grass.
grassy. Yeah.
So, like, that could be grass steel.
Let's do it. I'm going to be a rhino.
There it is.
Look at that.
Rhino.
Working backwards. We should we should probably make Pokemon. We should like be Pokemon peoples, you know?
Yeah, I know, right?
So
that was just like seconds. Like we didn't even like do any research or nothing like that.
Game must be so lazy. Like they just get us and
I know, right?
Done.
And like they don't. All I had to do, man, was pull up the Chinese zodiac to pick mine. You know?
True. That is fun that they're doing that though. So I mean, like, what's the next one?
I don't think they're doing it in order.
Oh, okay, gotcha. One of those is going to have to be a rat, right?
I mean, see, this is the thing. Technicality, Cyndaquil kind of accounts for that.
Yeah, okay.
So
is he not something else? I don't remember what the other ones are that are on there.
There's the ones that they didn't do yet is snake, goat, and ox.
That's it? I thought there were like 12 or something.
And I'm trying to look and see all the ones that they did rat. They didn't do horse. They did rooster. They did dog. They did dragon. Did I already say goat? They didn't do goat. But we talked about goat in one of the podcasts before.
Yeah,
they did.
That was
tiger.
a fun podcast.
So yeah, they did. Okay. Like all but a few.
Yep.
4.
Interesting. Good stuff. All right. Just a couple more questions. These are from Discord. You can join our Discord because that'll be fun for you and us.
The link
and everybody else. True.
Fans.
Oh, is that one of the... No. Is that one of the incentives for...
Nah, it was going to be, but they wanted me to like get a membership and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
it's like, I don't want to do
that's
that.
Dumb. But yeah, we've got a giveaway right now, by the way. So probably all of you guys know about it, but it's a giveaway for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And
yep, it's linked on my Twitter, which was like a Galaxy Brain play, you know? I was going to just link the giveaway. Yeah. But I just thought it made more sense to link the tweet because then we all like,
that's right.
Whatever, new followers or stuff and like, you know.
True stuff.
Good time.
Wolfden. I don't know who's that.
Who's that?
I don't really know. Bob asks, Parker, what's in the afterlife? And let me tell you this. I mentioned this in a message to him as well, but waffles, there are waffles and they're great. So there you go. They're really good. Don't be worried about waffles not being there because they're there. So
yeah, because I know freaking, where did we go? We went to Cracker Barrel.
Nice.
When we were at too many games. It wasn't PAX.
Too many games.
And they didn't have waffles, and I was upset.
Really?
I was so upset, dude.
Huh. I guess I've never...
I was about to cause a scene.
Yep. Man, I had a good number of waffles while we were there. And it's... So we had like breakfast waffles one of the days that my mom made in the thing. But again, as I've said on here before, the waffles in Belgium, there's 2 different kinds. And they're more like... I guess like pretzels or hot dogs in New York kind of a thing where they're like street vendor type food, but like real high quality street vendor food. I mean, you can also get them in restaurants and stuff. Not every restaurant, but some restaurants. So so there you go, Bob. I hope that answers your queries from now into eternity. Grimhain.
Bob is secretly a pancake person, so he'll probably be disappointed.
I can't say one way or another if they're pancakes, and I don't really want to know, if I'm being honest. So
yeah, I know, right? Like, come on, man. If you pick pancakes, you're a quitter, dude. Like, you're a quitter, my guy. It was like, because Will was also at too many games.
Yep.
Did he go to PAX? He was at PAX. He was at PAX.
Yeah, he was at PAX too.
But yeah, he was like, man, they're like, yeah, they don't have waffles, so like, I guess I'll just get pancakes or whatever. I was like, nah, that's quitter talk, dude. And I got like French toast or something.
French toast is good.
Because that's an acceptable substitute. You know?
I saw, you guys don't have, well, you do have Kroger, but it's called, what's it called up there? Turkey Hill.
Oh, yeah.
That place.
Yeah.
It's called Kroger in the South. Or at least where we are in the South. I think some places it's even called something else, like in North Carolina or something like that. In any case, saw an ad for Kroger, and their ad, they had a bunch of French toast that they were making, and they were like, look how cheap things are here. We can make this much French toast, I guess was the idea. But now I really want French toast, so I could probably make that happen.
There it is.
Probably not too hard.
There it is. There were no Fanatics Foods comments that I saw.
There weren't from anybody else, but we've talked about food a number of times.
Yeah, we got there, you know?
So there you go. Last question.
We're just planting seeds for the brand, you know?
So true. It's going to be great. Grimhain, last question says, I got nothing for you this week except autumn or fall? ?
What do I say?
I think so. Yeah.
Fall. Faster.
I always have a long answer for questions because life. This is one of those things, like many other things in my life, that having like just I want for it to be autumn in my mind, but it's fall. It's dumb. It's the same kind of thing. Like when we moved to the U.S. when I was 10, and I was like,
did you get a Pokemon at least?
I got so many Pokemon. No.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't. But side note, also, I really hope, like, if anybody listens to me saying this stuff, there's no way for me to explain stories in my past without using the fact that I lived in other countries. So I promise, like, none of it is in any way, like, I lived in this, like, trying to be elitist.
Oh, no, I don't take it as that
I know
at
you
all.
don't. And, like, I know most people don't that've been around here, but, like, please just know that I'm just saying it because it's contextual to a story, not like
Howard. I don't know how else you're supposed to.
I don't know either, but I know some people sometimes will take it as like, oh, you're just talking about, you know, like living something like that. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry.
It would come off more like even like if this was just your truth,
right? Yeah.
It would come off more like bragging if it was like, you know, we just like summered there a lot, you know. But you're growing up there. It's like there's plenty of people that grew up there.
Yeah,
you know?
Right, exactly. So thank you. AJ's got me. So yeah, you know, growing up there, the schooling that I went to was more British based than American based, at least in France, where we were. So so I learned to spell words like favorite and honor and stuff like that with you.
Wrong. Incorrectly.
And like, so there were a lot of things that I came to the States and would do in school and would get corrected for as if I was dumb for having done it wrong. Like, not quite, but that's how it felt, where it was just like, you did the wrong thing. Like, because the teachers just legit didn't know that there was another way to spell it coming from somewhere else.
Oh,
so
that
they
makes
didn't
them
say
dumb. They're stupid.
Yeah, so they didn't say like, oh, you spelled it the British way because you grew up there, but here actually we do it this way. So you're gonna have to do it this way. That I would have been fine with, but them just correcting me and being like, wrong. Like,
wait, did you bring this up to your parents?
I want to say my memory of it is something to the effect of it happened and I kind of like was confused about it and then mentioned it to my parents later.
So like it's like it's insane. Like I'm like the complete opposite of like so many other kids where it's like they're like terrified for like that's a threat for students. Like, we're going to call your parents. I'm like, yes, please, let's go. Let's do it, fam. Let's go to the office right now and call my parents. Let's do it. And I'm legit like, all right, give me the phone. I'll get the phone and be like, all right, Mom, this is what I did. I did X, Y, and Z, but this teacher did the X, Y, and Z, right? Yeah. I always open it up with like, yeah, I punched a hole in the wall, but for clarification, I've never punched a hole in the wall at my school. But that's just an example. I'm like, yeah, I did this, but she did that, or he did that, or whatever, right?
That's really funny.
Yeah, like, no, I would 100% be like, no, I got this right, and they got it wrong, and they gave me this grade. And I
think I had more, especially then, and even now to some degree, like, am just more likely to second guess myself. They're like, I guess maybe I was wrong about that. Yeah, exactly. So like, I think in all those things, I just thought like, I thought I was doing it right, but apparently not. So all that to say, similarly for autumn and fall, there's a part of me that like I've now just come accustomed to saying fall, partly because it's an easier word, but I like the word autumn a lot better, and that's the more British word of the two, but not that they're exclusive.
I know somebody named Autumn and I don't like her very much, so
so there you go. That's that.
Can't call it that, you know? Because fall's great.
Yeah.
But autumn, though, not so much.
Also, you can't make the spring forward and fall back jokes for daylight savings time with autumn.
I don't make those jokes anyway.
Well, it's not so much a joke. That was pretty much all there was to it.
Yeah.
But you can't call it that. You can't call it like autumn tell you about the future times. You know, it's not even a sentence. So you could try. Yeah. I mean, you could say it.
Yeah, I mean, you can say whatever you want, unless it's like, unless it'll get you canceled. Then
I mean, you can say whatever you want, unless it's in front of Blizzard after you won a tournament. I didn't even bother putting that news in because at this like it's,
we just like didn't like I just
would agree with pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, it's like just, no, like come on, dude, like we don't like, come on, dude. I already don't like Blizzard as it is.
Yeah, right.
Just for the type of games that they make that aren't Overwatch. So, like, I just didn't think it was necessary to be like, Blizzard's dumb. Because, like, I'm talking about Blizzard anyway.
I thought it was funny. Jason Schreier put out a tweet where he was, like, talking about the NBA coming on so late. And he's like, I'm going to have to be asleep. So, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, just talking about him wanting to watch an NBA game pretty much. And someone was like, something. Or, like, well, they're, don't you feel bad watching that because they're in China's pocket? And he's like, as if everything else isn't already. And I was like,
true.
That's pretty funny. Like, all things considered, for him to just be like, I mean, I'm not going to not enjoy the NBA, I guess, because I was like, that's a take. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yep.
It was funny. But that's about it, y'all. That's, our regular 2.5 hours of content for you every week.
I was going to clap, but I don't know if it'll clip. So.
Oh, that's true. It'll probably clip. So,
choose not to.
Content. There you go. I just did a tiny little 2-finger clap.
There it is.
Lovely. That's it. Let us know things in the comments, or tweet at us, or just send us pictures of dogs. I don't know. That would be fun.
Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on audio services, rate us there, and maybe tell a friend to be like, hey, listen to this podcast. They talk about the autumn and whether or not it should be called that.
Yep.
Fruits. Waffles and their superiority to literally every other breakfast food. And also Nintendo news.
That's true. Like, we sprinkle a little bit in there.
Yeah, it's a good time. Goodbye.
Bye.